capital in a regular social media conference, and I thank you for your support and cooperation. We have, since the first conference, we have formed the Patriotic Social Media Foundation under the inspiration and guidance of Dr. Subramanian Swami, who support us on Twitter, nearly reached 8 lakh, and various friends and well-wishers have various social media pages like Facebook and others on the internet, and the supporters in the various form of social media which are following Dr. Swami and other like-minded friends who are on the dais and in the audience. This huge following has been growing, and it has been a very interesting and educating experience for all of us who are active on the social media. And as I mentioned, we have had these interaction sessions in the other cities, and this is the first type of its kind in Mumbai, in Delhi. And then, as you all know, many of you in the past, virtually some of you have attended each one of these sessions. We have not made this into a public meeting because we can always collect crowd double the size of this hall or much bigger in any meeting which is addressed by Dr. Swami, but we wanted this program, the usual program format is interaction with social media activists. So Dr. Swami is usually present during the entire session, whether it is a half-day session or a full-day session, depending on how we have organized in the different cities. We have organized where Dr. Swami is present. He is one of the star speakers. Other people speak, like Professor Vaidyanathan has been attending all these conferences and has a very large following amongst you all. So we have this interaction where there is question answer, and they being present throughout the day. Each of these social media activities have an opportunity to interact with many of our social media leaders. So that is the main theme for having such conferences all over the city. You would be interested in knowing that about 850 persons have already registered on the online registration site of ours for this conference, and there have been a lot of spot registration today. People are walking in. In fact, my phone is not stopped ringing, keeps on ringing. People say we are on the way, we'll be late, will we be debarred from coming inside? I said, welcome, please come to the registration. If you have already registered, then please give your number and please enter. So in short, this is an ongoing process, and we have this in Delhi. And as I mentioned, about 850 people have online registered, and today people have done spot registration, and some are going to join us a little later. You will be interested in knowing that representatives from 25 states have registered for this conference, and most of them are present. As far as Northeast, Dibrugarh, Guwahati, Manipur, and various parts of India, from Kashmir, from Jammu, from all parts of India. I am just mentioning the far-flung areas, but people have come in. People have specially flown in from the United States for attending this conference. There are 2-3 speakers and people who are amongst you all know them. They have specially come from the United States, UK, UAE, Canada for this conference, and 1 or 2 people will be speaking on some of the relevant issues. As you know, today we are releasing a book, Action Plan for National Renaissance. Dr. Swami will speak on it. The booklet, which will contain some articles, some details, and even the agenda program. Most of you who had registered have got it by email, today's program, but there is a printed sheet. There will be some minor changes in the agenda, but strictly we are following the agenda. Our program is divided into 3 parts. The morning session will end at 1:10, and that is with a lunch break. We'll reassemble at 2 o'clock. Then that session goes up to 4 o'clock, the second session, and at 4:20 we start the final session. Dr. Swami will be speaking after releasing the booklet in the first session for a few minutes, giving us a direction of the program, but his main speech, which will be about 45 minutes, is at 4:20 onwards in the evening or the late afternoon session, and it will be followed by a 40 minutes of question answer. Most of our main speakers who are present today would be speaking, and there will be a question answer session. I would request participants who would be participating in the question answer session to be brief. Each session will be presided over by a presiding person, followed by an introducer, and there will be somebody else on the stage with the speaker. So this is the format we are following, and there will be question answer session. In the afternoon session, post lunch, we will be having interaction between the PTs, some of our prominent PTs from Dibrugarh or from Orissa, from Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and various parts. I may have missed out some part. Dr. Arvind Gupta is there. I would request him to come on the stage. He is one of our speakers for today's program. Dr. Arvind Gupta is requested to come on the stage. As you know, he is the head of the Information and Technology Cell, which successfully conducted the elections to the Lok Sabha. He is the head of the technology. He is one of the speakers. After Dr. Swami's speech, we welcome him to the stage. So without taking much of a time, in the course of the program, we keep you updated. So we welcome you all, and we take this opportunity to take this social media activity forward. And on behalf of the Patriotic Social Media Foundation, I have given you a brief outline. We have received numerous requests from many states and many cities of North India to have similar conferences, and we hope in the near future we'll have similar meetings in different parts of India, especially the eastern and the northern parts where we have not had very big conferences of this nature in the past. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mr. Shetty, for giving the overview of today's program. This program will also be available to you in the form of the booklet when Dr. Swami releases the booklet. May I now invite Dr. Sunil Mago to welcome the participants in this.
I've forgotten to make two short announcements. Our program today is being webcast live on www.swami39.com, www.swami39.com, and it is also being webcast, the highlights, especially Dr. Swami's and prominent other speeches of Arvind Gupta, Professor Vaidyanathan and others, also on UA TV, that is UA the BJP official TV channel, a webcast which is available on that channel. So if you are tweeting, as you all very well know, we are using the hashtag which is very prominently displayed here, hashtag PT Delhi 2014 for tweeters who are present here and tweeters who are hearing us on the webcast. You may kindly use the hashtag for tweeting about today's conference. That is hashtag PT Delhi 2014. If you are spreading or putting out any messages about this Twitter conference, so that we know that what's happening at this conference. So these two webcasts are there, and some other newspapers and other channels are also covering it in the subsequent part of the day. So we thank for their cooperation and support. Sunil Magoji.
मंच पर आसीन परम आदरणीय डॉक्टर सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी, प्रोफेसर वैद्यनाथन, शशिकला जी, अरविंद गुप्ता जी, मेरे मित्र जगदीश शेट्टी और अभिषेक त्रिवेदी, और देश के कोने कोने से आए हुए हमारे मित्र और देश प्रेमी जो यहाँ आए हैं, जो यहाँ नहीं आ पाए, लेकिन जो मन और तन से हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए, सबका स्वागत करता हूँ। अब इस स्वागत में मैं सम्मिलित करता हूँ दिल्ली से और बाहर से आए हुए उन तमाम लोगों का जिन्होंने इस प्रोग्राम का संयोजन करने में बहुत महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई। दोस्तों, माँ बच्चे का हर पल ख्याल, बच्चे का भी कर्तव्य बनता है के माँ का, और खास तौर से देश प्रेमियों के लिए उस माँ का जिसको हम भारत माता कहते हैं, कि उसका भी ख्याल रखें। तो ये संगठन है, उसका नाम ही पैट्रियोटिक है। एक किस्सा मेरे को याद आता है स्वामी विवेकानंद का। एक दफा वो जापान गए और तकरीबन 2 दिन वहाँ रुके थे। तो काम की तलाश में थे, कोई जापानीज उनको मिला, तो उन्होंने कहा कि मेरे को कुछ काम चाहिए। तो उन्होंने काम के बदले में आपको क्या चाहिए? उनका काम के बदले में मेरे को खाना चाहिए, क्योंकि मैं 2 दिन से भूखा हूँ। तो जापानीज जो था उसकी आंखों में थोड़ी सी नमी आ गई। उन्होंने पूछा ठीक है, आप पहले खाना खा लीजिए, उसके बाद आप काम कीजिएगा। लेकिन स्वामी जी कहने लगे नहीं, मैं पहले काम करूँगा, आई विल अर्न एंड देन ओनली आई विल हैव माई मील्स। तो उन्होंने कहा नहीं, आप पहले कर लीजिए, क्योंकि आपको अच्छे तरीके से जो है काम कर लेंगे अच्छे तरीके से अगर पहले खाना खा लें। तो स्वामी जी जब खाना खा रहे थे, उसके बाद पहला जो उन्होंने सवाल पूछा, ये पूछा कि अब मेरे को काम क्या करना है। तो दोस्तों, उस जापानीज ने ये कहा कि आपको ये काम करना है, जब आप वापस हिंदुस्तान जाएं तो किसी को ये ना बताएं कि मैं जापान में था और 2 दिन भूखा था। तो ये होती है देश प्रेम की भावना। तो वही देश प्रेम की भावना जो है वो हमारे अंदर अगर किसी ने भरी है, राष्ट्र के लिए, देश के लिए किसी ने लड़ाई अगर की है,
volunteers led by Dr. S. Bharadwaj to arrange for the distribution of the booklet to all those who are present here. The booklets are available here. Volunteers should come on the right hand side, and as the booklet is released, the booklet should be distributed to all the participants present here. Dr. Swami and Professor Vaidyanathan to release the booklet, Agenda for National Renaissance, राष्ट्रीय पुनर्जागरण की कार्यसूची, राष्ट्रीय पुनर्जागरण की कार्यसूची, Agenda for National Renaissance. This booklet has articles on different issues concerning the nation which India should adopt. Many contributors have contributed articles in this, but main contributor is Dr. Subramanian Swami himself. Dr. Swami released the booklet Agenda for National Renaissance. Volunteers, please arrange for the distribution of the booklet to all those present here. The booklet will be used in a few minutes, and the booklet also has the complete program, minute-to-minute program of the day, what Mr. Jagdish Shetty had already described. I request Mr. Vishal Mehta to come and give a bouquet to Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Mr. Vishal Mehta from Bombay, he has worked very hard in publication of this booklet. He is in charge of the publication. I request Mr. Vishal Mehta to give the bouquet to Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Vishal Mehta is also available on Twitter. He is very active pupil. I now request our advocate friend from Chandigarh, Mr. Ajay Jagga, to present a memento to Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Yeah, memento is basically on the theme of Agenda for National Renaissance. Mr. Ajay Jagga is very active RTI activist and PIL activist from Chandigarh, a successful lawyer from Chandigarh, Mr. Ajay Jagga. Friends, many of you already know, but those who do not know, let me inform you, tomorrow 15th September is Dr. Subramanian Swamy's birthday. The PTs from Tamil Nadu have arranged a unique felicitation to Dr. Subramanian Swamy today itself. Taking up this opportunity, I invite the PTs from Tamil Nadu led by Sri B.S. Chandralekha ji, Mr. Shashi Kumar, to come and felicitate Dr. Subramanian Swamy, give a traditional garland and a crown. Dr. Swamy is uncrowned king, but the crown is on birthday. This is for 75th birthday of Dr. Subramanian Swamy, which falls tomorrow, 15th of September. We pray that Dr. Swamy lives long, 100 years, Jeevet Sharatam Shatayu. Traditional welcome by Tamil Nadu people on the occasion of birthday of Dr. Subramanian Swamy. 75th birthday of Dr. Subramanian Swamy, 15th September. One day in advance, we are seeking this opportunity to felicitate Dr. Subramanian Swamy. उनके 75वें जन्म दिवस पर तमिलनाडु के कार्यकर्ताओं द्वारा ये उनका एक अभिनंदन, जन्मदिन का अभिनंदन 75वें वर्ष पूरा करने पर। Thank you, B.S. Chandralekha ji. Thank you, Shashi Kumar ji. Thank you all the people who have come from Tamil Nadu to participate in this PT conference. Rambo Rambo Nandri, Mr. Shashi Kumar. வணக்கம், நன்றி, வணக்கம். agenda for national renaissance, to set the tone for the discussion for the whole day, I now invite none other than Dr. Subramanian Swami for his inaugural address, which will be a short address, but will set the tone for the day's discussion. Dr. Swami will be speaking again in the evening at 4 o'clock. I invite Dr. Subramanian Swami to come and give his inaugural remarks on agenda for national renaissance. Dr. Subramanian Swami.
मुझे तो अंग्रेजी में बोलना पड़ेगा क्योंकि दक्षिण प्रांतों से कई लोग आए हैं, तो हाँ, तो सुझाव ये है कि इस सत्र में मैं हिंदी में बोलूं और शाम को दोपहर के 4:30 बजे 4:20 को 4:20 तो मैं अंग्रेजी में बोलूँगा। पहले तो मैं जगदीश सेठी, प्रोफेसर अरविंद चतुर्वेदी, एडवोकेट मुर्गो, अशीफ आलम, इन्हीं वगैरह कई लोगों ने एक साथ आकर कहा कि कॉन्फ्रेंस में हम ऑर्गेनाइज करेंगे, आपको कुछ करना नहीं है। और वास्तव में मैंने कोई मेहनत नहीं की इसके लिए। मैं सिर्फ आज सुबह जब इन्होंने कहा 10 बजे पहुंच जाइए तो मैं 10 बजे आया हूं। बीच में जो कार्यकर्ता आए, वरुणवीर, उनके लोग, पलवल से लोग आए, यतेंद्र चौधरी, ऐसे कई लोग जुड़े और उन्होंने सहयोग किया। और आज एक किसी के मदद के बिना सब अपने आत्मनिर्भरता के साथ ये एक सफल सम्मेलन दिखाई पड़ रहा है। इसके लिए मैं उन सबको बधाई देता हूं और कहता हूं आगे बढ़ो। हमारी लक्ष्य है कि आज़ादी के बाद आपको पता है कि स्वतंत्र संग्राम में महात्मा गांधी ने पढ़े लिखे लोगों को ही जोड़ा था। यहाँ तक उन्होंने जब सीवी रामन को नोबेल प्राइज मिली, उन्होंने कहा इस नोबेल प्राइज लेकर के कहा आज़ादी मिलने वाली है, यहाँ तक वो गए। और जेसी बोस, ऐसे लोग जो पढ़े लिखे लोग थे, उनको उन्होंने इस संग्राम में जोड़ा था। और उस कारण से एक आश्वासन, एक विश्वास पैदा हुआ कि अंग्रेज चले जाएंगे तो हम देश चला सकते हैं। आप लोगों को तो याद ही नहीं होगा, परंतु उनकी जमाने की पुस्तकों को पढ़ोगे तो ये एक आम राय थी हिंदुस्तानियों के बीच में भी कि अंग्रेज चले जाएंगे तो देश टुकड़ा टुकड़ा हो जाएगा। यहां तक लोग ये नहीं मानते थे कि भारत एक प्राचीन देश है, क्योंकि हमारे इतिहास के पुस्तकों को उस प्रकार से लिखी गई थी। अपने स्वतंत्र पाने के बाद 1947 के बाद धीरे 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 ये दोबारा एक हवा पैदा हुई कि राजनीति से दूर रहना चाहिए। और जो राजनीति में आए उन्होंने अब पैसे के लिए गुंडे बदमाशों का जो लूट है उसका उपयोग किया। धीरे धीरे गुंडे बदमाशों ने सोचा कि चुनाव में जीतकर आकर पुलिस वालों को सलूट लेने के लिए हम इस नालायक लोगों को क्यों पैसा दें, हम खुद खड़े होंगे। और धीरे धीरे क्रिमिनल्स भी राजनीति में आने लगे और आज बड़े हमारे संसद, हमारी विधानसभा सब भरे हुए। इस ट्रेंड को बदलना, पश्चिम देशों में मैंने देखा, अमेरिका में, जैसे अब आज ओबामा है, वो इतने पढ़े लिखे हैं कि वो हार्वर्ड लॉ स्कूल में टॉपर थे और किसी कॉर्पोरेट लॉ फर्म में जाते तो मल्टी मिलियनेयर हो जाते, परंतु वो राजनीति में आए। ऐसे पढ़े लिखे लोगों की संख्या बहुत है। मैं नहीं कहता हूं कि सिर्फ पढ़े लिखे लोग राजनीति में होना चाहिए, लेकिन मैं ये समझता हूं कि प्रशासन को चलाने के लिए ज्ञान चाहिए, और ज्ञान विधि व्यवस्था का, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संबंधों का, ये सारी साधारण मामला नहीं है, और इसके लिए अनुभव भी पाना है। ये आयु का सवाल नहीं है, क्योंकि मैंने देखा कि राहुल गांधी के कहा कि युवा युवा युवा, बुद्धू निकला। फिर वहां उत्तर प्रदेश में उन्होंने कहा कि युवा चीफ मिनिस्टर बनाएंगे, नकल करते हुए, वो नालायक निकला। मैंने आज यही देखा है कि ये युवा के नाम पर सिर्फ युवा होने के कारण को आगे करने से हमारे देश की कल्याण नहीं हो सकती है। एक अनुभव व्यक्ति चाहिए, अनुभवी व्यक्ति चाहिए, जो पढ़े लिखे हैं, जिसको आधुनिक विषयों के बारे में ज्ञान है, उनको राजनीति में आना चाहिए। हाँ, जरूर त्याग होगा, पर त्याग ही हमारे देश की विशेषता है। हमारे देश में महात्मा गांधी और जयप्रकाश नारायण पद का एक दिन में भी नहीं थे, ना एमएलए थे, एमपी थे, मिनिस्टर थे, कुछ थे, लेकिन उनका नाम आज भी, क्योंकि उन्होंने त्याग किया। हमारी संस्कृति ऐसी, दूसरे देशों में ये त्याग की संस्कृति नहीं है, तो थोड़ा त्याग तो होना ही है। अपने पांव पर खड़े होकर आप राजनीति को प्रभावित कर सकते हैं। मैं नहीं कहता हूं कि आपको चुनाव लड़ना चाहिए या किसी पार्टी का मेंबर बनना चाहिए, ये मैं नहीं कहता हूं। अपने मेहनत से आना चाहिए, भले कोई भी आपका बैकग्राउंड। हम लोग नरेंद्र मोदी की प्रशंसक क्यों हैं? आप देखिए, वो रेलवे प्लेटफॉर्म में चाय बेचता, फिर अपने आप पढ़ करके उसने एमए की डिग्री ली, फिर वो राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ में आया, वहां उसने समाज के लिए सेवा की, सारा जीवन का उसने जो व्यवस्था होती है उसको छोड़ दी, और उसके कोई रहनुमा नहीं थे, उसको नीचे करने वाले लोग बहुत थे, उसको बदनाम करने के लिए बहुत प्रयास हुई, सारी यंत्र लगाई गई थी सरकार की, लेकिन वो दृढ़ संकल्प के साथ, अपने एक आत्मविश्वास के साथ आज वो सारे जो रुकावट हैं उसको पार करके देश का प्रधानमंत्री बन गया। इसको हम सराहना करते हैं। और ये देश का सौभाग्य है कि ये व्यक्ति के पास वो निर्णय शक्ति है, जब वो फैसला करेगा कोई बीच में नहीं रुक सकता। मुझे किसी ने मजाक में कहा कि आपका तो बर्थडे 15 सितंबर को है, नरेंद्र मोदी का 17 तारीख को है, तो बीच में किस कौन है? तो मैंने कहा जो चक्की पीसेगी वो तो पी चिदम्बरम की, क्योंकि उसका है 16 तारीख का। तो मैं तो निश्चित तौर पर आपको बताना चाहता हूं कि इस 5 साल में देश का पुनरुत्थान होने वाला है, और पुनरुत्थान करने के लिए हमें क्या करना चाहिए? उस दृष्टि से पहले तो योग्य व्यक्ति को इस राजनीति में औपचारिक रूप में भरे ना आए, परंतु प्रत्यक्ष अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से, परोक्ष रूप से उनका हिस्सा होना चाहिए, सवाल पूछने की ताकत होनी चाहिए। मैं कहता हूं कि हमारी आज जो आजादी के आंदोलन में जो जिन्होंने नेतृत्व की और डॉक्टर अंबेडकर खास तौर पर जिस तरीके से उन्होंने संविधान बनाने में मदद की और संविधान बनाने के लिए जो चेयरमैन बने थे सरदार पटेल, उनकी दूरदृष्टि थी। उस कारण से मैं कहता हूं कि यदि आपको संविधान पूर्ण रूप से समझ में आएगी तो फिर आप पद में ना रहते हुए भी परिवर्तन ला सकते हैं। इतनी ताकत है हमारे संविधान में, परंतु इसके लिए ज्ञान चाहिए, इसके लिए पढ़ाई चाहिए और सिर्फ लाठी उठाने से नहीं होगा। तो मैं आपसे ये कहता हूं कि ये सम्मेलन पहला एक प्रयास है कि देश भर से मेरे ख्याल में 25-28 प्रांतों से लोग आए, 25 प्रांतों से लोग आए अपने आप, और सारे लोग पढ़े लिखे बड़े अच्छे स्थिति में हैं, अपनी मेहनत से खड़े होकर, अपने पांव पर खड़े होकर ऐसे लोग इकट्ठे हुए। और मैं धीरे धीरे एक चेतना जगाने चाहता हूं आपके बीच में, जिससे आप एक हिंदुस्तानी बने जो मैं कहता हूं विराट हिंदुस्तानी है। वो विराट हिंदुस्तानी देश की सारे शत्रुओं को मुंह तोड़ जवाब दे सके। तो ये जो बुकलेट बनी है, ये इस हेतु से संक्षेप में हमने 4-5 मुद्दे रखे हैं जो आपको जानना चाहिए, और मैं अपने तरीके से इसको संक्षेप में आपको सामने रख के अपनी बात को समाप्त करता हूं, और दोपहर को विस्तार रूप से मैं आपको इस सारी चीजों के बारे में बताने चाहता हूं। पहले हमारी अस्मिता क्या है, ये बिल्कुल स्पष्ट होना चाहिए। अस्मिता और नागरिकता में फर्क है। नागरिकता माने सिटीजनशिप और अस्मिता माने आइडेंटिटी। मैं अपने को हिंदुस्तानी कहूं या भारतीय कहूं तो इसका अर्थ क्या है? दुनिया में हमें अनेक प्रकार से पुकारते हैं। मैं चाइना गया तो मैं तो चाइनीज भाषा भी जानता हूं, और चाइनीज भाषा में एक कहावत है कि जो विदेशी चाइनीज भाषा जानता है वो सबसे खतरनाक होता है। तो मैंने वहां जब बातों में उन्होंने मेरा जिक्र कर रहे थे तो कह रहे थे हिंदू गो, तो मैंने कहा मैं हिंदू गो माने हिंदू जो को ह कह नहीं सकते चाइनीज, हिंदू गो माने राष्ट्र। वो कह रहे थे मैं हिंदू राष्ट्र से आया हूं। अब ये सेक्युलर वालों को ये परिभाषा समझ में आ जाएगी कि अनुवाद को फेंट यानी आत्महत्या कर लेंगे कि उनको विदेश में जाकर चाइना जैसे सोशलिस्ट देश, कम्युनिस्ट देशों में उनको हिंदू राष्ट्र के नागरिक बोल रहे हैं। ये जो हिंद जाते हैं वहां हज के लिए उनको भी हिंदू कहते हैं। इंडिया तो हिंदू से ही आया है और उसको मजहब से जोड़ना गलत है। वो संस्कार से जोड़ सकते हैं। हमारी संस्कार अलग से है। माता पिता के कैसे हम देखते हैं, किस प्रकार से व्यवहार करते हैं, ये पश्चिम से बिल्कुल अलग है। पश्चिम में तो वो माता पिता की ख्याल ही नहीं करते, 16 साल के होने के बाद चले जाते हैं। जैसे जंगलों में जानवरों के बच्चे छोड़ के चले जाते हैं या पक्षी के बच्चे छोड़ के चले जाते हैं। तो हमारी संस्कार अलग है, वो हिंदू संस्कार है। उसमें आप भले आपका उपासना पद्धति या मजहब अलग हो सकता है, मुसलमान हो सकता है, क्रिश्चियन हो सकता है, पारसी ज़ोरास्ट्रियन हो सकता है, सिख हो सकता है, लेकिन जो संस्कार है जो हमें बांधती है वो है हिंदू संस्कार। और ये हिंदू शब्द को दोनों तरफ उपयोग होने के कारण थोड़ा उलझन हो जाती है। कभी आरएसएस के चीफ कह देते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान के लोग सब हिंदू हैं, तो बड़े हल्ला मचती है, पर तो वो संस्कार की दृष्टि से कहते हैं। और संस्कार तो अलग है ही हमारे धन के आधार पर हम समाज की रचना नहीं करते। हमारे ऋषि मुनि हो, हमारे जो सबसे श्रेष्ठ नेता होते हैं, वो सबसे सरल जीवन में रहते हैं। तो वो अमेरिका में नहीं है। अमेरिका में तो सजावट होती है, उनके सारे धर्म गुरुओं को देख लीजिए कितने सज कर आते हैं। तो हमारी भिन्नता जो है उस कारण से आज लंबे तौर पर हमारी संस्कृति आते आई है, अटूट आते आई है। दुनिया में 40 संस्कृति रहे हैं, 45 गायब हो गए, जैसे इजिप्ट का गायब हो गया, ग्रीस का गायब हो गया है, ईरान का गायब हो गया है, खत्म हो गया है, कोई आक्रमण के कारण, कोई अन्य कारण। पर जो हिंदू संस्कृति है वो चलते आई है। इसमें भले दूसरे लोगों ने इधर उधर योगदान किया, परंतु जैसा गंगा नदी में अनेक नदी जुड़ती है परंतु नाम तो गंगा ही रहती है अंत तक, वैसे ही है। तो ये बातें अस्मिता, फिर कौन सी भाषा से आंखें में आनी चाहिए। आज हमारे देश में जवाहरलाल नेहरू के कारण उन्होंने अपने देश में एक भाषा जो सब जानने वाली भाषा है या सब सीखने वाली भाषा है, या कम से कम पढ़े लिखे लोग जो वकील हैं, जो डॉक्टर हैं, जो साइंटिस्ट हैं, वो उस भाषा में वो सीख सकते हैं, जो दुनिया में उपयुक्त हो सकता है। वो भाषा शुरू से और आज तो सिद्ध हो गई है नासा के रिसर्च के जरिए, वो भाषा संस्कृत है, क्योंकि हर भाषा में संस्कृत के शब्द हैं। तमिल में भी 40% शब्द संस्कृत के हैं। मेरे एक बार झगड़ा हो गई थी करुणानिधि से, उसने कहा जय बिल्कुल नहीं, तमिल हमारा बिल्कुल अलग है। तो मैंने कहा आपका नाम करुणानिधि क्यों है, वो तो संस्कृत नाम ही है। और वो जो इलेक्शन सिंबल है अपनी पार्टी का, वो कहते हैं चिन्हम, चिन्ह है संस्कृत में सिंबल के लिए, और वो तमिल में चिन्हम। और फिर वो अपना जो सिंबल है उसका नाम है उदयन सूर्यन। मैंने कहा उदयन सूर्यन तो उदय सूर्य वो है। तो हर चीज में आप देख सकते हैं कि संस्कृत शब्द 40% तमिल में शब्द संस्कृत के हैं, कन्नड़ में थोड़ा ज़्यादा है, मलयालम में उससे भी ज़्यादा है, बंगाली में सबसे ज़्यादा है, हर भाषा में है। तो धीरे धीरे हिंदी के जरिए हमारे शब्दों को संस्कृतनिष्ठ करते करते एक भाषा बन सकती है जो कंप्यूटर के लिए सबसे फ्रेंडली लैंग्वेज, सबसे उपयुक्त भाषा मानी जाती है, वो लानी चाहिए। इस प्रकार से हमारे सारे जो अपने प्राचीन संस्कृति से जो आधुनिक करके अपने ले सकते हैं उसको हमें लेना चाहिए। आज विदेशों से लोग आकर हमारे आश्रम में जा रहे हैं। श्री रविशंकर के 75% तो विदेश से लोग आते हैं। और मैंने उनसे पूछा कि आप आते क्यों हैं, तो उन्होंने कहा कि हमें संतोष, जीवन में संतोष कभी मिला नहीं है, हमने पैसा तो खूब कमाया है लेकिन हम संतुष्ट नहीं है। और एक हैप्पीनेस के लिए हिंदुस्तान में आश्रम में सिखाया जाता है। हम क्या सिखाते हैं, यही सिखाते हैं कि धन जो है वो एक माध्यम है परंतु वो लक्ष्य नहीं हो सकता, और अपनी जरूरत से ज़्यादा धन है उसको दान करना चाहिए। ये हमारी संस्कृति है और इसमें से संतोष पैदा होता है। हमने भगवद गीता में सिखाया है, भगवान कृष्ण कहते हैं कि तुम्हें तो अधिकार सिर्फ एक बात की है, वो है कार्य करने के लिए। अच्छे कार्य करोगे तो कर्म विधि के अनुसार आपको फल मिलेगा, यदि बुरा काम करेगा तो कहीं ना कहीं आपको आके मारेगा। तो वो कर्म विधि में भगवान कहते हैं फल का अधिकार नहीं है आपको, परिश्रम के लिए आपको अधिकार है, मेहनत करने के लिए, कार्य करने के लिए। अब ये जब आपके अंदर आ जाती है तो स्ट्रेस बिल्कुल खत्म हो जाती है। और अमेरिका में जो कहते हैं कि मेरे कारण मैं फेल हो रहा हूं, मेरे कारण मैं सफल हो रहा हूं, वो जो अहम भाव आ जाती है उस कारण से असंतोष पैदा होता है। ये सारी चीज़ें आज हमें सीखना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारी जो पश्चिमीकरण हुई है हमारी शिक्षा प्रणाली में, उसका परिवर्तन होना है। हमारी इतिहास भी उल्टा सुल्टा लिखी गई है, उसमें सब जो भी अंग्रेज़ों को ठीक लगा उन्होंने डाल दिया है, उसको परिवर्तित करनी है। तो ये सारे मुद्दे पर हमारे यहाँ से शुरुआत हो रही है, एक नया, एक नवीन एक विराट हिंदुस्तानी पैदा करने के लिए आज की शुरुआत हो गई। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Dr. Subramanian Swamy. This was a brief address, inaugural address by Dr. Subramanian Swamy about the booklet which has been released, Agenda for National Renaissance. He will be speaking on different issues facing the country again in the evening at 4 o'clock, and that time he will speak in English as he promised. Just to inform you, the 7 books written by Dr. Subramanian Swamy are on the display at the rear end of the hall, and they are also available at a discounted price. India Uninked, the book written by Professor Vaidyanathan, is also available at the rear end of the hall. Those of you who are interested to purchase these books at a discounted prices, they are available to you just now. Now, the formal discussion session 1 will start. I thank people seated on the dais, Ms. B.S. Chandrelekha, Dr. Sunil Mago, Mr. Jagdish Shetty, Ms. Ashirvadam Achari, and we will start the second session. In the second session, Mr. Arvind Gupta is the key speaker. Mr. Arvind Gupta will speak on effectiveness of social media and for creating national consciousness. I now invite Mr. Ramesh Swamy, who has come from USA all the way only to attend this conference, to preside over this session. Mr. Ramesh Swamy from US. Dr. Swamy will be seated here. Dr. Swamy, Professor Vaidyanathan will remain here. You can see that here also, the plaza. Everything is available on this. Yeah, we will make sure that it does not go out of the hall. Professor Vaidyanathan is slated to speak a little later. In this session, Mr. Arvind Gupta, who will be in charge of the IT cell of the BJP, will speak on effectiveness of social media for creating national consciousness. I invite Mr. Ramesh Swamy, is already here. Now I invite Mr. Abhishek Kapoor to introduce Mr. Arvind Gupta. Abhishek Kapoor.
Very good morning, honorable guests and my dear friends. Today we have with us Dr. Arvind Gupta. Dr. Arvind Gupta is the head of the Bharatiya Janata Party IT division. Dr. Arvind Gupta is an electronics engineering graduate from the Institute of Technology, Banaras Hindu University. He has subsequently completed his master's in computer science and MBA from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, USA. He also holds a PhD in technology management. As we all are aware of a very big campaign of Bharatiya Janata Party, Mission 272, Dr. Arvind Gupta is the head of Mission 272 digital campaign for Bharatiya Janata Party. A very successful campaign, and due to which we been able to get 282 seats. I request Dr. Arvind Gupta to please come and share his views with us. Thank you.
Just before I invite Dr. Arvind Gupta, I invite Upasana Asthana, who has come all the way from Hyderabad, to present a bouquet and felicitate Dr. Arvind Gupta. Upasana Asthana from Hyderabad, and Dr. Varun Veer to present a bouquet to Dr. Arvind Gupta. Upasana Asthana, is she here? Okay. Now I invite Dr. Arvind Gupta to speak on effectiveness for social media for creating national consciousness.
after he finishes his speak, there will be a question and answer session, and the volunteers will take the mic to you, and you can ask the question wherever you are sitting from there on. Dr. Arvind Gupta.
नमस्कार मित्रों, गुड मॉर्निंग। ये सोशल मीडिया की ही पावर है कि आई एम टुडे सिटिंग अलॉन्ग विद टू ऑफ आवर ग्रेट प्रोफेसर्स, प्रोफेसर स्वामी who used to teach at IIT and Professor Vedanathan who still teaches at IIM Bangalore, and those of us who have been lucky to have been taught under their tutelage, we know how privileged we are, and हम तो स्टूडेंट्स हैं इनके, और इनके साथ आज आके मंच शेयर करना और उस पर एक अपनी एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना इज अ मैटर ऑफ प्रिविलेज फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस। सो आई थैंक यू एंड आई थैंक ऑल ऑफ यू फॉर बीइंग हियर ऑन अ संडे मॉर्निंग। आज का सेशन है सोशल मीडिया के ऊपर। मैं सोशल मीडिया या सूचना प्रौद्योगिकी की पूरी कि हमने इलेक्शन में किस तरह व्यवस्था में और संगठन में इस्तेमाल किया उसके बारे में हिंदी इंग्लिश में दोनों में बात करूंगा आपसे, लेकिन तीन चार चीज़ें देखिए। जो आपने बोला मिशन 272, ये तो एक लक्ष्य था जो आईटी और सोशल मीडिया के इस्तेमाल से एक संगठित किया गया। मिशन सिर्फ ना सोशल मीडिया ने पूरा किया, उसका सहयोग किया, पूरा सहयोग किया, उसका जमीनी कार्यकर्ताओं ने सहयोग किया, उसका हमारे लीडर्स ने सहयोग किया, हर किसी ने सहयोग किया उसका। हम लोग तो उसके एक सूत्रधार थे। इसका श्रेय सिर्फ एक आदमी को या एक संस्था को नहीं जा सकता, इसका एक एक भारतवासी को श्रेय जाता है, भारत के बाहर के लोगों को जाता है जो विराट भारतीय हैं। हमने सिर्फ एक सूत्रधार का काम किया, हमने एक सिर्फ विजन दिखाने का काम किया कि मिशन 272 हमें चाहिए। और इसकी एक छोटी सी टिप्पणी है जो मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा। जब हमने मिशन 272 का वर्ड का निर्णय किया, तो जब हम प्रधानमंत्री जी से इसका अप्रूवल लेने गए, तो आप उनका देखिए, उनका विजन कितना था। उन्होंने कहा 272 पे ही क्यों रुकते हो, इसके आगे प्लस लगाओ, और वो प्लस उनकी धारणा थी। और ये बात हमने मिशन, मेरे साथ यहाँ मेरे मित्र बैठे हैं, शैलेश झा को हिंदुस्तानी ट्विटर करके ट्वीट करते हैं, भूतनाथ सिंह बैठे हैं, तेजिंदर बग्गा दिख रहे हैं। ये थोड़े नाम ऐसे हैं, मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ कि ये सब लोग 26 जुलाई की मीटिंग में थे। 26 जुलाई 2013 को एक मीटिंग करी थी जिसमें मिशन 272 लॉन्च हुआ था, और उससे पहले हम प्रधानमंत्री जी के पास गए थे ये पूछते हैं कि सर इस मिशन का नाम 272 दें कि नहीं दें। और वो उनका विजन था जिसको बहुत कम लोग उस टाइम बायन करते थे कि ये 272 अचीव होगा, और आज आपने देखा है 272 नहीं, हम उसको 282 पहुंच गए। सो थैंक यू ऑल, थैंक यू वन एंड ऑल फ्रॉम ऑल पार्ट्स ऑफ इंडिया। तमिलनाडु में भी हमने अकाउंट खोला है और हर जगह अकाउंट खुला है पार्टी का। आज ट्रूली अ नेशनल पार्टी आफ्टर 30 years फुल मेजॉरिटी। मेरे साथ एक मित्र बैठे हैं रमेश स्वामी। रमेश और मैं इकट्ठे काम करते थे कंपनी में। एक यहाँ पर कहीं धनजीत गिरी भी हैं क्या? धनजीत बैठे हैं, ये भी मेरे साथ काम करते थे। देखिए मैं इनसे मिला नहीं हूँ, रमेश से 5 साल के बाद मिल रहा हूँ, धनजीत से भी 5 साल के बाद मिल रहा हूँ, लेकिन मुझे पता ही अटेंड कर रहे हैं, और हम एक ही माध्यम से कनेक्टेड हैं लास्ट 5 साल से, और वो माध्यम हम सबको कनेक्ट कर रहा है। 2009 के इलेक्शंस के बाद हमने रिकॉग्नाइज किया कि ये एक इंपॉर्टेंट मीडियम बनने वाला है। कुछ प्रोमिनेंट ट्विटराटी लीडर्स, प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी, lot of us got onto whether Facebook or Twitter in 2009-2010 framework, और उसका कारण सबको ही पता है। मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया हमारा सहयोग नहीं कर रहा था, हमारी स्पीचेस, हमारे कंटेंट, हमारी विचारधारा को कोई नहीं दिखा रहा था। आज एक छोटा सा हमने एक्सपेरिमेंट किया जो युवा टीवी का एक्सपेरिमेंट था, 2011-12 में हमने लॉन्च किया। हमने देखा कि हमारी रैलीज होती थी, पब्लिक रैलीज होती थी, उसमें लाखों लोग अटेंड करते थे, मीडिया उसको रिपोर्ट करता था, कुछ हजार लोग आए। तो हमने कहा इस सच को दिखाने के लिए हमें अपना एक ऑल्टरनेट सेटअप करना पड़ेगा, एक पूरा ऑल्टरनेट मीडियम क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा। उसमें हमने टेक्नोलॉजी का, सोशल मीडिया का, युवा टीवी का, सबका ऐसा प्रयोग किया कि एक टोटल ऑल्टरनेट फ्रेमवर्क मिला। हमें भी नहीं धारणा थी कि इसमें इतना सपोर्ट मिलेगा हमको, बट आप लोगों की सहयोग से इतना सपोर्ट मिला, इतना उसमें प्यार मिला, इतना उसका एफर्ट जमीन पे रिजल्ट्स प्रोड्यूस करने लगा कि लीडरशिप को भी लगा कि दिस इज अ मीडिया दैट दे कैनॉट इग्नोर एनी लॉन्गर। व्हेन वी started on social media or use of technology for political purpose, it was a new for everybody in the BJP also. एक वेबसाइट बनाना, बहुत दिन से हमारी वेबसाइट है, सब कुछ है, लेकिन एक इफेक्टिवली ऑर्गेनाइज करने के लिए, डेटा बिल्ड करने के लिए जो हमने इस बारी कैंपेन में इस्तेमाल किया है, उसकी 4-5 चीजें बिंदुओं में आपके सामने रखूंगा और इसको जितना इंटरेक्टिव रखें, जितना सवाल पूछें, आई विल बी हैप्पी टू आंसर। बट नॉट मेनी पीपल नो दैट last year in April, much before the elections were announced, we had actually done all our homework over 4 years of preparing data constituency wise. Data was prepared every constituency. आज भी हमारे पास बूथ लेवल तक का डेटा है, हमारे कौन से बूथ पे कौन कार्यकर्ता है, उस लेवल तक का डेटा हमारे पास मौजूद है। किस बूथ पर हम किस तरह से, किस माध्यम से कम्युनिकेट कर सकते हैं, एंड दैट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, बिकॉज सोशल मीडिया सारे बूथ पे नहीं पहुंचता है। बहुत सारे हमारे यहाँ पे मित्र होंगे जो शायद सोशल मीडिया का इतना इस्तेमाल नहीं करते होंगे, उनके रीजन्स में इतना इस्तेमाल नहीं करते होंगे। वहां पर हमने स्ट्रैटेजी दूसरी चेंज करी, वहां पे हमने सोशल मीडिया को इस्तेमाल करके वॉलंटियर्स क्रिएट किए। उस प्रोग्राम का नाम था सक्सेस ऑन ग्राउंड ऑर्गेनाइज ऑनलाइन। ऑर्गेनाइज ऑनलाइन फॉर सक्सेस ऑन ग्राउंड। रघुनाथ जी भी शायद बैठे हैं यहाँ पर, झारखंड में इन्होंने उसका बीड़ा उठाया है। ऐसे करके हमने बहुत सारे कार्यकर्ता क्रिएट किए, जो हमारा मैसेज, जो हम टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से, व्हाट्सएप के माध्यम से उनके फोन पर रोज भेजते थे, उस मैसेज को वो घर घर ले जाते थे। सो दिस वाज अ मैसिव प्रोग्राम, देयर वाज एन एफर्ट, एंड यू नो टुडे डॉक्टर स्वामी इज फॉलोड बाय एटलीस्ट 800,000 पीपल, सर, close to about 800,000 people on or 900,000 people on Twitter. Must be similar numbers on Facebook. But there was an audience which was not following us on Twitter, on Facebook. It was not there. उसके लिए हमने वॉलंटियर्स क्रिएट करे, और वो वॉलंटियर्स आप लोग थे। जैसे जैसे मैं देख रहा हूँ, मैं कई बार रिकग्नाइज कर पा रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैंने ट्विटर पर उनसे इंटरेक्ट किया है। प्रोफेसर वैद्यनाथन अभी मेरे को बोले कि हम ट्विटर पे एक दूसरे को फॉलो करते हैं। It's an honor for us. But the point being कि जिस आपको आपके लीडर्स, प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी या कोई भी लीडर्स, सीनियर प्रोफेसर स्टार्ट फॉलोइंग यू एंड इंटरेक्टिंग विद योर लीडर, यू गेट सो मच ऑफ नॉलेज एंड कंटेंट, and you start going on ground, you start working in the field, you can take that content and distribute it to your family, and that was our strategy. जहाँ पर A level constituency 160 constituency ऐसी थी जहाँ सोशल मीडिया was a top 3 strategy. Those were the constituencies जहाँ हमें पता था कि सोशल मीडिया बहुत इफेक्टिव रहेगा कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए। बट एक C लेवल कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी थी जहाँ पर सोशल मीडिया की पेनिट्रेशन इतनी नहीं थी। उन कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी के अंदर, उन पार्लियामेंट्री सीट्स के अंदर हमने क्रिएटेड वॉलंटियर्स, 2 से 3 हजार वॉलंटियर्स फील्ड में जाकर रोज जो बीजेपी का, मोदी जी का मैसेज था, चाहे वीडियो में, चाहे शॉर्ट क्लिपिंग्स में, वो जाकर घर घर ले जाते थे, पैम्फलेट्स बनाए उन्होंने और डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किए। तो इस कैंपेन के अंदर एक इफेक्टिवनेस लाने के लिए हमने जितनी मेहनत सोशल मीडिया पे करी, उतनी मेहनत हमने ऑन ग्राउंड भी करी। और जब भी आपको आपके सामने रिजल्ट्स और नतीजे सामने आए, 282 सीटें और 336 एनडीए की सीटें मिली। बट सोशल मीडिया का जो बहुत, एंड दैट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कन्वर्सेशन कि सोशल मीडिया आज से आगे क्या करेगा। स्टेट इलेक्शंस तो हैं और अभी द बैटल इज हाफ वॉन। The battle is still not won. We are very relentless in this. हम जिस दिन पहली जीत खत्म हुई 2014 के और 2015 के 2017 के जो प्रमुख इलेक्शंस हैं उनकी तैयारी चालू हो गई है और आगे चल के मेरे ख्याल से 2019 की भी तैयारी चालू हो जाएगी और जिस तरह से हमारे प्रधानमंत्री काम कर रहे हैं तैयारी की जरूरत कम पड़ेगी उनकी गुड गवर्नेंस और उसको पाने के लिए हर देशवासी इच्छुक हो जाएगा। अगली बार का मिशन दोस्तों मेरे ख्याल से मिशन 400 होना चाहिए। बट जो सोशल मीडिया का जिस तरह से आइडियाज मैनिफेस्टो के लिए आए, जिस तरह के आइडियाज हमारी चार्जशीट के लिए आए, जो क्राउड सोर्सिंग के हमने एक्सपेरिमेंट्स किए, वो एक्सपेरिमेंट आज गवर्नेंस में भी इस्तेमाल हो रहे हैं। एक नेशनल कॉन्शियंस को जो राइज करने के लिए आप देखिए जो एक गवर्नमेंट ने माईगॉव पोर्टल लॉन्च किया है। कितने मित्र यहाँ पे जो माईगॉव में कोई सजेशन या आप आधे से ज्यादा लोग माईगॉव में इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं और ये पार्टिसिपेटिव गवर्नेंस है। इंडिया का पोर्टल है, मेड इन इंडिया, डेटा इंडिया में रहता है और ये पोर्टल ऐसा है जिसको यूज करके सजेशंस दी जा रही है और वो सजेशन एक्सेप्ट हो रही है। आपको पता होगा जो जन धन योजना थी वो पूरी सोशल मीडिया से क्राउड सोर्स करी गई थी। उसका लोगो, उसका नाम, उसका लोगो, उसका थीम और इतनी अच्छी बात है कि जो उसका नाम है और उसका लोगो नॉन हिंदी स्पीकिंग स्टेट से आया है। नाम हिंदी में है और उसका जो पूरा लोगो और आर्टवर्क है और नाम है वो बेंगलोर, महाराष्ट्र और केरल से आया है और ये इस देश की अखंडता और विराटता का एक बहुत अच्छा नमूना है। एक और चीज जो बहुत जरूरी है और हमें सोशल मीडिया की जब हम डिस्कशन करते हैं उसमें जरूर एक बारी इस पे वी शुड टॉक अबाउट इट, एक बिंदु है वो है कि अभी सोशल मीडिया की जो पेनिट्रेशन है करीब 15% मैक्सिमम है, तो 85% ऐसे लोग हैं जो सोशल मीडिया से कनेक्टेड नहीं है। उनको कनेक्ट कैसे करना है, उनके साथ अपनी बात कैसे पहुंचानी है, इसको भी हमें अपना मद्देनजर रखना बहुत जरूरी है। हमारे जितने प्रयोग, जितने एक्सपेरिमेंट्स मिस्ड कॉल के द्वारा, लाइव टॉक एक हमने प्लेटफॉर्म था, ये एक्चुअली मेरा एक पेटेंटेड प्रोडक्ट था जो पार्टी को हमने डोनेट कर दिया, जिसमें आप एक फोन कॉल के ऊपर पूरी स्पीच लाइव सुन सकते हैं। उसका प्रयोग, एक मिस्ड कॉल का प्रयोग, एसएमएस का प्रयोग इतना सक्सेसफुल रहा है और इसको हमने हर अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी में आगे चल के जरूर करना है। 85 जब तक पूरा इंडिया डिजिटल नहीं हो जाता, जो हमारी एक विजन है 2020-2022 तक मोदी जी का विजन है डिजिटल इंडिया, दैट एवरी फैमिली इन इंडिया शुड हैव अ डिजिटल कनेक्शन। जब तक मोबाइल, एसएमएस और ये फोन कॉल, वॉइस को भी अपने प्लान में और स्ट्रैटेजी में इंटीग्रेट करना बहुत जरूरी है। जो रूरल इंडिया है, जो सी कैटेगरी इंडिया, जो बी सी कैटेगरी फ्रॉम अ सीट क्लासिफिकेशन, उसके अंदर इसकी बहुत ज्यादा डिमांड है। मैं एक आपको और एक इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट बताऊंगा। हम स्टेज पे बैठे हुए थे तो जो युवा टीवी का हमारा टेलीकास्ट हो रहा है वो यहाँ पर तो किसी के पास डेस्कटॉप होगा नहीं जो डेस्कटॉप पर देखेगा, लेकिन हमने सबसे पहले, और रमेश ने बहुत मदद करी हमारी इसके अंदर, कि इसको मोबाइल पे कैसे डाला जाए। एक स्मार्टफोन पर भी एक आदमी अगर आज क्या मोदी जी बोल रहे हैं, आज क्या प्रोफेसर स्वामी और प्रोफेसर वैद्यनाथन बोल रहे हैं देखना चाहते हैं तो देख सकते हैं। और वो आचार्य जी मेरे दोस्त कहाँ चले गए, उन्होंने दिखाया मेरे को कि वो मोबाइल पे बैठे हुए देख रहे हैं कि टेलीकास्ट कैसे हो रहा है। तो हमारी हर स्ट्रैटेजी के अंदर मोबाइल जरूर इंटीग्रेट होना चाहिए और वहीं से ही सबसे ज्यादा डिमांड आ रही है और सबसे ज्यादा हिट्स आ रहे हैं। तो यही मेरी 4-5 बिंदुएं थी और कैंपेन के अंदर मोबाइल का बहुत इस्तेमाल रहा है। मोदी जी का होली का मैसेज, उसके बाद उनके वोट की अपील्स, अगर एक इंटरनेट पे या सोशल मीडिया पे उस पर जो डायरेक्ट मैसेजिंग थी वो 15 या 20 लाख लोगों तक पहुंचती थी, तो जो डायरेक्ट फोन कॉल्स जो गए हैं वो 15 से 20 करोड़ लोगों पे गए। तो इफेक्ट ऑफ मोबाइल is still not little in India, and we should never ignore it in our discussions and in our campaigns, and any strategy we make, it should definitely have mobile integrated to it. I think I can't thank the bloggers, the social media, the troopers enough for putting a constant pressure, bottom up pressure on media. ये आप सब लोग जो ट्विटर पे एक्टिव हैं, फेसबुक पे एक्टिव हैं, पता है लास्ट ईयर कोई मीडिया वाले हमारी स्टोरी नहीं कैरी करते थे। हमने उनको यहाँ पर सुरेश अगर कहीं है तो उन्होंने सुरेश या सुरेश नकवा, ये 3-4 सुरेश थे जो मीडिया जिनके नाम से डरती थी, क्योंकि ये ऐसे थे कि अगर मीडिया ने एक अक्षर भी गलती बोल दिया तो ये उनके फैक्ट्स एंड फिगर्स उनको दिखाते थे, उनके सामने मिरर प्रोड्यूस करते थे। आई थिंक ये प्रेशर हमको बना के रखना है दो चीजों में, एक अपनी गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर ताकि वो अच्छा काम करते रहें और 2019-2024 अच्छे दिन आते रहें, और दूसरा मीडिया के ऊपर कि कीप शोइंग देम द मिरर। सो बोथ द थिंग्स हैव टू बी डन ऑन अ कांस्टेंट बेसिस गोइंग फॉरवर्ड। व्हेन वी हैव एक्सपर्ट कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स, our job is to distribute that content more effectively. Our expert content creators, two of them are sitting on the stage. One of them is operating out of RCR, and others are hopefully in 11 Ashoka Road. So all of them combined are creating so much of content, messages of good governance. All we have to do is distribute it effectively and keep up the pressure on the government as well as on media. I think I will rest here. Any questions I can take? Thank you very much.
Volunteers, please take the mic to the people who want to ask questions to Dr. Arvind Gupta.
Hello doctor, how are you? I'm Rahul Jain, I'm from Delhi itself. I'm an entrepreneur running in my own industry. There's some work that I also want to do for my country. There's one question related to social media, as you just pointed out. My point is that why can't we have referendums through social media or involving internet? Because there are two things which are plaguing us as a country, that we have a lot of problem on ground level as well as on national level. So in case, if we can't have it for both, then can't we have some referendum systems, although they are more representative and not on a very broad base, but that representative ideas of referendum just the way that they have in Switzerland in their own way, but can't we have it over here? Wouldn't it be kind of revolutionary?
Thank you, my friend. जो मैंने बात crowd sourcing, can I reply in Hindi, English? Would that be okay? See, the whole point of crowd sourcing जो मैंने आपको बताया, तो crowd sourcing is a referendum. आप एक विषय के ऊपर 1000 आदमी कमेंट देते हैं और कहते हैं ये विषय होना चाहिए या ये पॉलिसी होनी चाहिए, तो इट्स लाइक अ हीट मैप. So if you do a heat mapping on issues, it is a referendum. But, and I think the government is taking that. For example, on a non-policy issue, what we did is that, again, we used the same portal as I just talked about to see which were the 20 more. Why should we, as who are non-creative people, I am absolutely non-creative, judge somebody's creative work? Let the 3 lakh plus community on MyGov judge who is the best creative. So they crowdsourced it, crowd-scored it. Scoring भी crowd ने करी कि ये सबसे अच्छा है, ये इसको 1 mark, 2 marks, 4 marks जितने भी थे. Now that is a way of doing referendums or taking opinion on which policy has more feedback to it, which has more weightage to it. We have to be afraid of the anonymous and the fakes and issues like that. So because that is what happens, and that is a technical challenge, and unless we solve that, I think we can use it for a lot of other effective ways.
Sir, yeah, right hand side. Before question, I'm just Dr. Suram Sami
I
Namaskar.
don't know who is asking the question.
15%.
Speaker, please identify yourself first.
I'm Pradeep Kumar from the media. Yeah, my question is, you said right now it is 85% not getting Modi's the vibrant the speeches and all kinds of the social media. Could it be possible? How do you say it? 15% get available and 85% 85% लोगों को नहीं मिला. आपने ये बात कैसे बोला है?
मेरे में मैंने जो बात बोला वो बोला कि सोशल मीडिया 15% अभी हिंदुस्तानियों के पास है, 85% के पास नहीं है. लेट मी क्लैरिफाई. Social media today is accessible to 15% of people within India. 85% people still don't have access to social media. 22% of Indians have access to internet, and out of which about 2/3 are on social media, not more than that. आपको अगर अभी भी कुछ मिसकंसेप्शन है तो मेरे से बात में आके मिले प्लीज.
नमस्कार सर, मैं अनिरुद्ध जैन. सर, अभी स्वामी जी ने कहा कि हिंदू एक धर्म नहीं, हिंदू एक जीवन शैली है. हम भी ये मानते हैं. स्वामी जी ने बताया कि नासा ने संस्कृत को उच्च भाषा माना गया है. तो ये सब चीजें फेसबुक ट्विटर पे आती हैं, बट सब लोग इससे जागरूक नहीं हो पाते. तो इसका क्या जरिया है कि जो लोग फेसबुक ट्विटर पे हैं वो इन चीजों से जागरूक हों और लोग जागरूक हों? इसका क्या जरिया है?
देखिए, मैंने बोला ये बात कि हमारा ये फर्ज बनता है, इट इज आवर ड्यूटी टू टेक द मैसेजेस दैट वी आर गेटिंग and go and give it to people who are not on social media, who are not on internet.
हेलो,
ये that is our job.
ये सर लोग करते हैं, परंतु जो लोग इसे नहीं सुनना चाहते, इससे दूर रहते हैं, पॉलिटिक्स से दूर रहते हैं, तो उनके लिए उनको मनाने का या जागरूक करने का क्या तरीका है?
ये देखिए, ऐसा इस बार वोटिंग परसेंटेज बढ़ी है. बिल्कुल 12% बढ़ी है. ये मेरा मानना है कि हल्के करके जो लोग पॉलिटिक्स में इंटरेस्टेड नहीं होते हैं, जो अभी आपका मानना है, मेरा ये नहीं मानना है कि लोग पॉलिटिक्स में इंटरेस्टेड नहीं होते हैं. हमें हमारा फर्ज ये भी बनता है कि उनको इंटरेस्ट करवाना. वी हैव टू मेक पीपल रिकॉग्नाइज इट्स देयर ड्यूटी टू वोट. यू डिजर्व द गवर्नमेंट दैट यू इलेक्ट. चाहे गुड और बैड, वी डिजर्व द 2009 गवर्नमेंट ऑल्सो.
ओके, धन्यवाद. जय मां भारती.
Sir, I have one question.
You can have just one more question.
Yeah.
Last question, please.
Sir, yeah.
We are running 3 minutes behind schedule.
Sir, I'm standing here just now. Hello, sir. My name is Tanmoy. Yeah, I'm from Bengal. I just wanted to ask the question that in now, आजकल हम लोग क्या online voting system start नहीं कर सकते? Because now all the youths are staying away from home. हम लोग job भी बाहर करते state से. Like I'm in Bengal, I'm doing job in Delhi. So can we start the online voting system in the near future? आपका view क्या है सर?
That's a very good suggestion, sir. And I can tell you one thing. It is under active consideration. And there is not only for people, migratory voters within India, it's a problem for all non-resident Indians also.
Yes.
So I think there is a proposal, there is a discussion that has already started for first addressing the non-resident Indians, and if it becomes successful and the technology can be addressed, it will be implemented in India. It's in our real timeline. It will be implemented in India.
Yes, sir.
It will also happen. It will also actually help in removing all the duplicate and fake voter IDs also.
Yes.
So there is a big move in that, and I think it's a very welcome suggestion. And the work is already on. I should only say.
Thank you, sir.
हेलो सर, सर लास्ट सवाल है. मोदी जी ने बोला था कि नेट का चार्ज जो है घटाएगा अगर वो सरकार में आता है, क्योंकि ये सोशल मीडिया का एक बहुत बड़ा
सवाल बाद में ले लेते हैं. मैं आप यहीं पर अवेलेबल हूँ टाइम समय.
Not only that, we will entertain all questions. Because of short of time, we cannot take the question here. Please write the question on a slip, pass it on to us. We will give it to the speaker. The speaker will try to answer the question to you directly, or if not, through mail. We ensure that all the questions will be answered. If not today, maybe in due course, the speaker will use the email to answer the question. So please do not get disheartened if you don't get time to ask. Please write the question and give it to us. We will ensure that your question will be answered. This session comes to an end. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramesh Swami. Thank you very much, Dr. Arvind Gupta. Thank you, Dr. Varun Veer. We will start the second session now. The second session, key speaker in the second session is Dr. V. Prakash Rao, who is from Global Hindu Heritage Foundation, United States of America. He has come to participate in this conference all the way from USA. But before he speaks, let me ask Prakash Gurunath to come to the stage and to preside over this session. Mr. Prakash Gurunath from Hyderabad. I invite Dr. V. Prakash Rao, Global Hindu Heritage Foundation, United States, to come to the stage, come to the dais. Dr. V. Prakash Rao is here. Please welcome him. I invite Mrs. Prema Raghavan to present a bouquet to Dr. V. Prakash Rao. I invite Deepak Chaudhary from Haryana to come and present a bouquet to Dr. Prakash Rao. Prema Raghavan ji and Deepak Chaudhary to present the bouquet to welcome Dr. Prakash Rao. I invite Deepak Chaudhary from Haryana to welcome Dr. Prakash Rao. I invite Mr. Swami from Chennai, who tweets by the name Swami Lion, to introduce Dr. V. Prakash Rao. Swami to introduce Dr. V. Prakash Rao.
Good morning to fellow speakers and respected dignitaries on the stage. It's my pleasure to introduce you Prakash Rao V. Velagapudi, who has done a PhD from US. His academics include MA degree from Rural Economics and Development from Andhra. He has done MA Sociology from Michigan State University and PhD in Sociology from Mississippi. After contributing 36 years of professorship, he has retired in 2006 and is now working on Hinduism activities, and he is one of the founding members of Hindu Temple Society of Mississippi, and he is also and during this period he has worked on a 7,000 feet Hindu temple with Lord Sri Venkateshwara and 16 other deities being presided over there. He started his spiritual journey under Sri Ganapati Sachidananda Swamiji of Avduta Dattapeetham, and he is the chairman of Datta Yoga Center, United States. He is now the president of Global Hindu Heritage Foundation, started in 2006 by a group of highly professional people in the United States, and is now actively involved in canvassing and raising the Hindu conscience of plight of Hindu temples in India and repealing the Endowment Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Swami. Now I invite Dr. Prakash Rao to speak on plight of Hindu temples and repeal of Endowment Acts. Dr. Prakash Rao.
Namaste. I want to thank Dr. Swami and Dr. Vaidyanathan that I communicate frequently. As he mentioned, I went to United States in 1965. I have done all the things and then returned to India in 2006. I was aghast. I was disappointed. I was tormented with the kind of things that are taking place in India. One news item on August 23rd, 2006, where it says, Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, issued GO 29, by which he allocated crores of rupees for the construction of churches and renovation of new churches, renovation of old churches. That is what triggered me to start this organization, and immediately I found a couple of people to challenge that particular act, and it was stayed by the High Court. Then we started this. Then we started Global Hindu Heritage Foundation in 2006, and then we realized the kind of damage that is taking place in India, because Hindu temples are the roots of our strength, and basically they are trying to destroy what belongs to us, what is the strength of our country. they have enactment act. There is an act called Endowment Act, by which they can take over all the temples that are making certain amount of money. If they don't make money, they don't worry about it. So they just let it dilapidate. So they take only the temples that make money. In North India, most of the states have taken over only the richest temples. Siddhivinayaka temple and Shirdi Sai Baba temple, Amarnath temple and Kashi Vishwanath temple and so on and so on. Whereas in the south, all 4 states have enacted this Endowment Act by which they have taken over all the temples that are making more than 50,000 rupees per year. So in Andhra Pradesh, it's like 32,000 temples that are under government control, and there is no way you can account for any amount of money and how they spend it. They basically loot all the money, they encroach all the lands, they sell the lands, they take the jewelry, you name it, it is happening. So you can just go to our website, savetemples.org, you may get a glimpse of some information, and I have few copies, I think some of you may get, and it will give you a lot of information, state by state, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and then Karnataka, and all the things that I am talking about. Now, what is it that we have done? So basically, I didn't know much about all these things until I just that particular incident hit me hard. Then we came to know about the Endowment Act. Then we realized how many people really don't know anything about it. I would say 99.9% probably knows anything about the Endowment Act and the kind of damage it is doing to our culture. So our task was how to awaken the Hindus. So we have done 2 Padayatras, 6 months in 2007, in 2008 also we have done Padayatra, going through the villages, 6 months each year, telling the people these temples belong to them, they don't belong to the government, they need to go to the temples, they need to take the children, so on and so on. This is a kind of effort that we made in order to make all Hindus aware of what is happening to our temples. We have also done at least about 20 times. We went to High Court and then litigated, because any time they are announcing to sell the land of the temple, we go to court and we get stay order. Once we get stay order, very rarely the government will come and justify how they can sell. So that's the reason we have to do some legwork. If you know any temple land is being sold, please go to the High Court and then get the stay order, and they will never come back, because there is no way they can justify why they are selling the land. And we have done other things. I think some of you heard Vakula Mata temple, we have raised the issue, and there is illegal mining going on. Almost 3/4 of the mountain was dilapidated, and so we have taken in building the whole Vakula Mata temple if the TTD is not interested, since it is in litigation right now, so they said they cannot make a decision at this time. So in the same way, so we have housing plots. TTD has given plots, housing plots, about 150 acres. So we challenged it in the High Court. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court also agreed with our position not to give these plots to the employees. Why? Very simple. Because the Christians and the Muslims will be looking over very closely, because whenever I am given a housing plot, obviously I will sell it the highest bidder. Within 20 years or 15 years, that particular colony will become either a Muslim colony or a Islamic colony. So basically, at the doorsteps of Balaji, so you will have a colony that is of other religions. So that's the reason we contested it. So we have been successful on that one. In the same way, I think some of you know, we were the one, DHS is the first one to raise the issue of Islamic University. Islamic University was going on, the construction was going on for the last 3 years, but nobody paid any attention to it. So we were the ones who were able to go, take pictures, release it, and within 6 months, the whole thing has finished. So even High Court and everybody, even the governor, you name it, every politician is agreed that there should not be any Islamic university, so it is still in litigation. So now, but we are also, as I mentioned, it is the Global Hindu Heritage Foundation, so we have taken a number of positions. I think in Narendra Modi and Dr. Swami, I have written a letter actually in February before the elections, listing about 21 points. If we have to make India a Hindu Rashtra, there is no reason why it should not be a Hindu Rashtra when other people have 58 countries in their belt, and we are the only religious people who don't have a land. If I want to go to a Hindu country, where is it? Muslims have 58 countries, Jews have their own country, and then Christians have their own countries. With 1.2 billion Hindus, it is shame on us that we don't even have a Hindu Rashtra. So first of all, we need to will be outdated and outnumbered in the next 35 years. So because if you look at all 58 countries, what has happened to them, once they reach 30%, so you are done. No country has actually able to withstand the rampage of the Muslims once they reach 30%. So keep in mind, if you don't have family planning enforced, in spite of all the efforts Narendra Modi and BJP and everybody will do next 15 years or 20 years, it may be gone overnight. Please keep in mind, these are some of the things that we have been addressing, we have been writing, and we just published one book also. I gave it to Dr. Swami. So, and Hajj subsidy, I have no clue why we need to have it. Hajj terminals, and whereas we go to Sabarimala and all these people just like beasts sleeping on the streets, whereas these people have the air-conditioned houses, and we actually accept it, and we don't even talk about it, we don't even express our voice. It is time we do it immediately. Now, the BJP government has come in at many states. I think it is the time BJP has taken a more positive approach and make sure they repeal the Endowment Act first. All BJP government should repeal the Endowment Act and give these temples back to the Hindus, so that way they can say what they mean. So this is the time. I think we request Narendra Modi and Dr. Swami, everybody, to look at what is happening to our Hinduism. So we have litigated number of cases. Including Gogausi, and then I filed a case on minarets. Every day, 5 hours, 5 times, Allahu Akbar. I mean, you can't even sleep. I don't know why we wait, why we are just sleeping, why we don't express our opinion, why we don't voice ourselves. You keep listening to this thing every day 5 times, and still you don't act. What is happening to our Hindus? Where is the pride? We have to have the pride. We have to stand for our rights. Otherwise, they will be taken away from all of us very soon. And we also filed a case against the police department for the atrocities committed against some of our Hindus. And finally, just about 1 minute, I will finish it, and about the repeal of the Endowment Act. What is it what we want to see in the repeal? So once the repeal is done, we would request Acharya Sabha to take the lead and see the transfer of these temples from the government to all the Hindus. Now, they should appoint the apex committee consisting of maybe 15 or 20, whatever it is, they should be responsible for enforcing all the rules and the regulations. There are a number of white papers, so-called white papers, as to how to manage our temples. We should look at all of them, have a discussion. Yesterday I was talking to Dr. Swami. He said, I need to start something in the US and come up with some plan before you can bring it to India. So I think we are going to take care of that one. In US, we are going to have a conference as to how to manage our temples in India. And of course, according to this white paper, we will have our own legal bureau. So their decision will be final. If there are any differences or any problems come in the management of Hindu temples, this is the legal body that should be able to address all the issues. So that way we will be self-sufficient, self-independent also. All the lands that have been sold in the last 100 years, there should be a clause to make sure all these lands are given back to the temples that they belong to. Because they have taken those temples, there are so many dilapidated temples right now. Because the income is gone, the priests are gone, the people cannot go to the temples. Unless we take those temple lands back or give current rate value, so we should not accept any amendment where it will release all the temples to our government. And of course, a lot of other things, so I don't think I want to go through all the main things, but I want you to go to our website, savetemples.org, and so you will get all the information that you can find. And we also, to make people aware of it, we have also released a CD in Telugu. Only 2 days ago, we released this CD in Hindi. Sadhvi Ritambara Devi released it day before yesterday. So we have about 150, so we will put it at the table. Please pick up, because this CD will tell you why we have to go to the temple. What is the significance of the temple? Every aspect of the temple, Pradakshina, Rajagopuram, anything that you think about, they are in this particular CD. So please grab one of the CDs, and so I would appreciate listening to my message. So please be proud of India, stand for Hinduism, stand for Bharat, be a proud Hindu, work toward Hindu Rashtra. If we don't have Hindu Rashtra, so we will be 59th country. Namaste.
There is an opportunity for question and answer. Those who want to ask the question, please ask for the mic. Mic will reach you. We have 7 minutes slated for question and answer session, though we are running 10 minutes behind the schedule. So please be brief in asking the question. And I repeat, those who do not get the chance to ask the question because of short of this time, they can write their question. We will pass it to Dr. Prakash Rao, and he will answer the question later through mail also. Please pass on the mic to the people who want to ask the question. Volunteers are requested to please do the needful.
Sir, what are you doing for temples in Kashmir? Are they in your agenda?
Say it again, please.
My question is, what are you doing for the temples in Kashmir where the land is being encroached? Is this a part of your agenda?
Yes, it is. It is. In fact, you see, we have written extensively on that one. If you go to our website, so every article I write, I wrote about 200 articles you will find in our website, Save Temples. In every article that we write, we talk about the Kashmiri Pandits. And they have the lands also, the temples also. Everything is included in that one. Please.
नमस्ते, मैं बिस्वा नोएडा से, बिस्वा पानीग्राही नोएडा से। मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है कि गुरुद्वारा में बहुत अच्छा मैनेजमेंट होता है, जैसे कि साफ सफाई वॉलंटियर्स का, लेकिन मंदिर में स्वच्छ नहीं होता, क्लीनलीनेस जो चीज़ है वो मैनेजमेंट नहीं हो पाता।
If you can say it in English, I would appreciate.
Okay. Basically, when we compare all Gurudwara's management, the cleanliness and the volunteers are working in a very systematic way, whereas our Hindu temples do not have these things. So the management, we have to think about the Hindu management of temples. So only the revenues are collected, but the management and the services to the devotees who are visiting are very less. So what do you feel about it?
Anybody has any idea what I could follow actually?
Question was not audible properly.
Yeah,
If the speaker is requested to please use the mic little away so that the mic can catch your question and then it can be passed on to Professor.
Yeah, she wants to ask.
Let him repeat the question if you can clearly ask the question.
Yeah. Basically, can you hear me now?
Can you come in by that time this lady will ask me a question.
You can ask the question.
Hello, I'm Prema Raghavan from Baroda. What's the rationale behind giving concession to Muslim for the Hajj Yatra in a secular country? Will you abolish it?
You see, we have been advocating that one. It should have been abolished the day it was announced by Nehru. If you remember, Nehru was the one who announced this one. The day before, one day before, he requested Rajendra Prasad not to go to, what is that temple, I forget now, not to inaugurate, Somnath. He asked Rajendra Prasad not to go to the Somnath temple because it is a religious event. The next day, the very next day, he comes up and says, okay, we are going to send all the Muslims to the Hajj. So that is the hypocrisy that is happening. I think we have to pay attention. We need to know the history of what is happening to our culture. So that way I think we will be equipped to follow all our leaders, Dr. Swami, Narendra Modi and all the people. So that way we will have a united front. Only by uniting ourselves we can fight, because it is a big fight. We may think it is not. So Kashmir is almost gone, Bengal is gone, Assam is gone, Kerala is gone. Gone means we are talking about close to 30% plus Muslims. Once they reach, as I mentioned, it's very difficult to defend ourselves. So we have to be maybe in the middle of the country, Telangana. So most likely it is going to be Islamic-dominated society in the next 15-20 years. So we just have to be careful, and we have to plan for the future.
Hello, sir. Just enough time for one more question. Lady in third row. Mic is not on.
Hello. Yeah, I am Prashant from Delhi. I totally agree with what you said, but there is also the other part of the story where temples like the Bake Bihari temple in Vrindavan are under the control of very few group of pandits, and the facilities for the yatris and devotees is atrocious. So what is the middle way where it does not go to that extent also?
We are not able to hear clearly, that's the whole problem.
What I am saying is, though we want that the government should not be in control of the temples, we have the other extreme where prominent temples like the Bake Bihari temple in Vrindavan is in the control of a group of few pandits who are again doing with all that funds that come in, and yet not doing anything for the temple itself.
Yeah, okay. You see, this is the issue that we all have to decide. I think, once there is a repealment of Act, it's not going to just overnight. Every state has different issues. It has to be at the state level, this repeal of Endowment Act. So, Uttar Pradesh may have different issues, Andhra Pradesh may have different issues, the South. So I think it has to have an independent discussion for each state and decide what is the best, how best we can use our resources to make sure that we take.
Such a horrible, people are spitting, they're throwing things, the outside is so dirty, everything is so bad, the ghats where you take bath and all, I mean, you cannot go. Even being in Andhra Pradesh, I've never visited Tirupati just because of fear of, the bad experience. So unless we do our thing properly, we cannot say that, okay, we should grow. So I volunteer myself to, streamline things. If other people join me, it will be happy.
That's it. That's a very good question. We have addressed that one about 2 years ago. We requested the Endowment Minister of Andhra Pradesh to come to Dallas, Texas, because we are not able to communicate in India. So we requested him to come to US. We had 7-hour seminar. We have designated 12 people to take up different topics. So the one that you are talking about is exactly, we have made altogether 100 recommendations. So they could not implement all of them, but this is one of the things we have been even just about 5 days ago. I met with the endowment minister, who is Manikal Rao, that is RSS background and all that. He is very receptive to all these restrooms and the touring facilities. A lot of things are coming. I think you will be able to find little more information in our website, Save Temples. Whatever we afford, we have been doing it, so we will keep posting all the time in our savetemples.org. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Singh from University of Patna. I invite Mr. Ajay Bharti to come and present a bouquet to Professor Vaidyanathan to welcome him before he speaks. Our team from Assam, led by Ms. Firmi Bodo, is here, and they want to present a traditional attire of Assam to Professor Vaidyanathan. Ms. Firmi Bodo, please. Firmi Bodo from Assam. Firmi Bodo is missing. That can be presented to you, sir, during the lunch time. Without losing the time, I thank the speakers so far, all the people who asked question and answer. I repeat, after Professor Vaidyanathan speaks, there will be a 15-minute question and answer session. But again, many of you may not get an opportunity to ask the question. And if the time is short and you don't get the chance to ask the question, please write the question, pass it on to us. We will ensure that your question is answered either during the lunch time by Professor Vaidyanathan himself, or through mail. He will answer your questions. So your questions will not remain unanswered. This is the assurance from us. Now I invite Professor Vaidyanathan to speak on global economic crisis and opportunities for India. Firmi Bodo is here. I'm sorry, sir, I'll take one more minute. Firmi Bodo to present a traditional attire from Assam. She has come all the way from Assam to participate in this. She's a very active Twitter. She's very active on Twitter and a great follower of Dr. Subramanian Swami and Professor Vaidyanathan. Please. Professor Vaidyanathan, please. I'm sorry. I invite Mr. Amrit Kale. Is Amrit Kale here? No. Mr. Amrit Kale? Mr. Amrit Kale, though we know that Professor Vaidyanathan is world famous finance expert, but Mr. Amrit Kale will give you a brief introduction of Professor Vaidyanathan. Mr. Amrit Kale.
Hari Om. The next person to grace us with his thoughts has been a professor of finance and control and UTI chairperson in the area of capital market. He is the founder chairperson for the Center for Capital Market and Risk Management at IIM Bangalore. He was a visiting faculty at the International Center for Banking and Financial Services at Manchester Business School and was a fellow of Salzburg Seminar at Austria. He was named one of the best 10 professors at all IIMs by Business Today magazine. His recent book titled India Earning, about unincorporated sector in the Indian economy, published by Tata Westland, has been well received by policy planners and market. I would like to request Professor R. Vaidyanathan to please come on desk and share his thoughts with us.
Thank you, colleague. This doesn't work. Yeah, I have some. Let me see. Otherwise, I won't use it.
Ashish, can you help? You have a PPT?
Yeah. Where is the, my USB will be? Yeah. Here. D? Transit. Oh, transit. Okay. Yeah, I'll take care. Yeah. No, slightly down. No, slightly down.
This is global economic crisis.
No, wait. Ah. Here. Above. Ah, above. Yes. Yes, yeah. No, opportunities. Yes, ah. Yeah. PT meet, okay. You can keep it down. Yeah. That's all. That's enough. You can keep it down actually. I will use it when it is required, right?
You need this for you.
No, it can be in the reduced form. It can, I can, like this I can.
No, otherwise you could jump to another slide.
No, what I am telling is, you keep it, I will speak. Later on I will take it. Okay. Dear friends, my teacher of old days, he is no more. He always used to advise, never address a gathering before lunch, because they will be restive. He also told never address them immediately after lunch, because they will be drowsy. So I am breaking the first rule in this. So I have to welcome you all for this fascinating city. See, I come from a town. In our places, early morning you get into a auto or taxi. So we say that go straight, Shiva temple will come, take a right, Krishna temple will come back, Vinayaka temple will be there, and there is the auditorium. This is how we explain. This is very interesting city. You get into the vehicle, the tomb will come, then mausoleum will come, then samadhi will come. This is a city of dead people who should not be who should not have born, leave alone dead, who should not have been born. Two dynasties are very well known here, Mughal dynasty and Nehru dynasty. So there are only two dynasties. Everywhere you go, you turn here, you turn there. I'll conduct a quiz for you. One of my teachers always used to do. In Bangalore also he did that. And all are youngsters. Who founded the Mughal dynasty, sir? Babur. Who followed him? All that you can answer, right? Who founded Vijayanagar dynasty? Who followed him? Very difficult. That is where we are. This Mughal dynasty, which lasted 300 plus years, 18 pages it takes, thanks to Bipin Chandra, in our history books of schools. This Vijayanagara Empire, which was nearly 400 years, which came up to the border of Bengal, exactly 8 lines, 1 paragraph. That is where we have landed ourselves in today. Mughal dynasty, what have they left? They have left exactly 3 mausoleums, 3 samadhis, 1 in Agra, 2 in Delhi. That is their total contribution to the Indian civilization. This Vijayanagara Empire, believe me sir, 9,000 plus temples were constructed all over India. up to the border of Bengal. I think we have to relearn, we have to redo many things. In the next 5 years, very simple thing is this Lodi garden can be changed as Modi garden at least. It's not a grave, it's not a big issue. L and M, next letter, sir. We are not doing anything big about it, right? Only one letter shift. This Nyaya Marg, Nidhi Marg should be named as Swami Marg. Some time on what is the opportunity for India in the current crisis. Of course, Chaturvedi was telling, question answer we can have later also. All my students know here, right? Anytime they can ask questions. So, answers will come. Maybe a bit slowly, but it will come, right? So, the first and foremost is, some of you may remember, 2000-2002, there was a major crisis in Thailand, not so much in Malaysia, but South Korea and other countries. That was called Asian financial crisis. Then there was 2005, 6, 7, Argentina, Chile had a big problem. It was called Latin American financial crisis. Today, Ireland, Portugal, Spain, England are having crisis. That is called global financial crisis. This is something which I don't understand. When a crisis is there in Asia, it's an Asian financial crisis. When a crisis is there in Latin American countries, it's a Latin American financial crisis. Why Ireland, Spain and Portugal crisis should be a global financial crisis? Not only it is called global financial crisis or economic crisis, we are also part of it because we are decided we are part of the global, right? So we also feel we are in crisis. 2008, I remember some business channel asked me how long it will take to solve the crisis. I told, whose crisis? No, sir, global. You mean the crisis in Portugal, Ireland, and by then Italy is also into the interviewed by any business channel. That this fellow is a hopeless fellow. Recently, BBC Business, they interviewed me. They asked how long it will take to recover. I told 80 quarters. 80 means, sir, you mean 20 years from now? You see, we are all teachers. Even if a student scores 5 marks, we don't tell he is bad or anything. There is scope for improvement. That is what we tell them. We can't tell them bad. Bad means he will take me to National Human Rights Commission and all the other things. That the professor is calling me bad. You can't tell bad. You should know that. Some student who was not submitting projects regularly, I asked him, why have you become lazy? He was so upset. Not for me calling him lazy. Sir, these days people don't call us lazy. What is that? He told, I am differentially motivated. I am lazy are all old style type of thing. So we are teachers. We don't want to say it will never recover. So we are telling it will take 20 years to recover. So the first and foremost thing which we should internalize is the crisis faced by G7 is so acute and so severe, and in the economic sense it's a secular decline, not in the political sense, it's a secular decline. So it is not going to be very easy for them to come out of it, and the underlying causes are very, very severe. And so this presents a very huge and opportunity for India. You look at the world map today, you find everywhere there is conflict. Conflict in Africa. One is the problem of the disease. More important is the fight between the jihadis, Boko Haram. I am sure most of you would have heard about it. And you look at the Middle East, it is exploding. And the man, he says, our friend Obama, he says, we will press buttons and try to solve the issue. That is, you will press buttons and bombs will. One of my friends was worried. He was telling, this fellow, you know, some of them are very weak in English. That is another problem. So Iran, Iraq, suddenly India also, he shouldn't press the button. You know, if he presses the computer button for India, we are finished. I told, cool, nothing, because all those who press buttons are Indians. there. So nobody is going to press a I for India button. They will press 2-3 times Iraq and 4 times Iran. Nothing will happen. But he doesn't know. He is not going to solve this in this fashion. Because he doesn't know who is the enemy. He also doesn't know how to deal with him. He should come to us. You have been dealing with them for more than 1200 years. We can offer him some suggestions. So, Middle East, and you come to this side, Europe is in a cauldron. And Middle East is in such a messy situation, nobody knows who is fighting whom. That is what in English, a beautiful word called auto-cannibalism. That is, you swallow yourself. And this fellow goes to Saudi Arabia, of all the countries, Saudi Arabia, sir, help us to fight jihadis. That fellows do not understand. How can we fight ourselves? And he is asking Turkey. Turkey is the one which is actually facilitating the process. So the distinction between the friend, enemy, who is fighting whom is all, every day you read, you get more confused. The ex-rebels become the current favorites. Sometimes New York Times write them as moderate jihadis. I never understand what is meant by moderate extremist. Moderate extremist, they say, sir, they do the, what you call, jatka way, only one cut of your neck. If it is a extremist, then they do the halal thing. So that is the only difference. Neck goes anyhow. What they call in the Bihar language of the Naxalite, 6 inch it is reduced. 6 inch it is reduced. So there is a huge conflict there. Europe is a major theatre of war. It is developing. And so if you look at the world map, very few places have got what you may call reasonably a calm patch. And India is one of them. So that is the angle we have to look at it, that this is a greater opportunity for us. What is happening is this, sir, very simple. You go back to 1990, you know this G7, I'm sure many of you would have heard about G7. They are in crisis, so what, now they have recrystallized themselves as G20. They have brought all the people more. See, when you are in crisis, I think every one of you know, whether you are in college doing a project or whether you are in office doing a project, when you are in crisis, what you should do? You should add more people so that you can blame per capita wise more number of people. If there are only 3 people, 1/3 blame you have to take. If there are 20 people, 1/20. So when you are in crisis, G7, they have added more people. We are also now part of G20. But we are not in the head table. You should remember that. And our friend Dr. Swami's very favorite person went there. Our MMS, Manmohan Singh, one stool was given to him, that's all. He was not in the main table. He is part of the G20, where some photo opportunities are provided. He also stood erect and he was enormously appreciated because he kept completely silent. So nobody understood what was. The only my grouse or my grievance is, why take a translator with you? India is the only country where for silence also you require a government translator. If Modi takes, I can understand. If somebody takes, I can understand. When you are completely silent, what is this man is to translate is silence. It's a waste of money. So we are part of G20, but not full part. So let's look at only G7. G7 had 51% of the global income, what is called GDP, gross domestic product, on a purchasing power parity, adjusted for inflation, adjusted for forex, so many things are there. That was in 1990. And the emerging markets, primarily India, China, Brazil and Indonesia. These are the 4 countries which had nearly 36%. You come back to 2014, which has already taken place, the G7 countries have got only 36% of the global share of the GDP. These emerging markets have got 52%. And this is not something which is going to easily reverse or anything. So many talk is there, some sprouts are seen, some green are seen, and nothing is coming out. Their last year actually, this year their performance is much more lower. So the global basis, today you have to remember in 2014 this was a turning point actually. China is the #1 country on purchasing power parity basis in GDP. Global basis, US is the second country in GDP. Third country is India. Fourth is Japan. So this is the hierarchy today. So we know, at least the current PM knows what he is doing by visiting Japan, by going to Ahmedabad to give the welcome to the Chinese PM. So this is the global order is comprehensively changing. Now the axis of economic power is shifting to, or already shifted to, Asia. This is the most important change which has taken place in the last 10 years, and 2014 it has culminated. Axis of power has shifted to Asia. If I tell, nobody is going to take it seriously. So Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Harvard University, Wharton, all of them are telling, sir, the axis of power has shifted to Asia. I think many of you will now feel more comfortable, right? Nowadays I don't tell anything. I send writing to them and ask them to send it back so that people will begin to believe, right? So this is the thing which you have to internalize. Very difficult for us to understand that Asia has become the global nodal point, which means 2 or 3 things is going to happen. Take it from me. If we play the cards well, our PM will become a large Asian leader. Not just Indian leader or anything, large Asian leader. You require actually large tonnage of Bernal for many people in India when I say this, but nothing can be done. It's going to happen. Second is, if we play our cards well, we have to create new institutions. We have to have an alternate to the World Bank. We have to have alternate to United Nations. We have to have alternative to other type of global institutions, which is primarily driven by Asian countries. This is the second type of a major and important thing too. Third is to protect ourselves. Yeah, one minor point. There is a very important point. There is a large study done by Angus Maddison which says till 1820, India and China were actually having the largest share of global GDP till 1820, every decade. So from that point of view, we are not emerging markets. Kindly note that if somebody tells you tomorrow we are an emerging market, you tell them, sorry sir, I had the privilege of listening to Professor Vaidyanathan. We are a re-emerging market. We are a re-emerging market. We are retrieving our position where we were. We are just retrieving our position. 1820, the rise of the West started, and as very appropriately predicted by Aurobindo Ghosh as early as 1905, that 2020 it is coming to an end. So 200 years he gave, 1820 to 2020. When did he give? He gave in 1905. That's why he is called Dirghadarshi. He is called a Maharishi, or he is called he didn't use any major econometric models. He didn't use any computer facilities in those days. He told the rise of the West will come to an end in another 100 years. That is around 2020. And he also added, very interestingly, from the ashes of the West, India will rise. This is something very, very important thing which he has. So we should recognize that it's an Asian one. And why have they gone into this, sir? After all, you know, they were a great powers, Europe, and the basic problem for them is they have a phenomenal amount of what we call in the financial jargon, leverage, or in simple jargon, debt, borrowed money. So huge amount of borrowing has taken place in all these countries. These are all data of January, actually. If you look at now, it's a much worse situation. US has crossed 300%. Canada is 300%. Our own Britain. People always ask, why do you call it our own Britain? Because sooner or later we have to run that country. I'm telling you. They are in such bad shape. Right? Already, I think some of you may be knowing our software people are running quarter of their national health scheme. People sitting in Hyderabad and Bangalore already are running there, and there is a proposal to run their. And sooner or later they will ask kindly your people can run our. We may not take it because what is the use of taking it without Scotland? Since it's not required. So all of them are in acute. And of this, what is the major problem is this? There are three types of debts. I think all of you would know about it. One is called government debt. Government of India debt, or Government of Britain debt, or Government of US debt. Government debt is always considered as benign. In the sense, as long as you have access to the Nasik press in India, for instance, you can solve the issue. Nasik press will print notes for the government. Sometimes it does for people like Telgi. I think you would have heard about him, right? He comes from my state, so I should mention it. He also had access to the Nasik press. Telgi, he was and somebody told me in RBI that his notes were much better than what we were printing, this forgery notes, because he acquired machinery from the press itself. So government debt is not such a major issue for all the, it's called sovereign debt. You can always meet it. Inflation may go up, but that is a separate issue. Corporate debt is separate. Corporate debt again is depending upon the size of the debt. See, if I have borrowed 40 lakhs for a house, every week or every month I will have to sit with my wife and worry about EMI. Am I right? If I have borrowed 400 crore, who will worry? From the bank. The banker will worry. Regularly he will ring up my wife, how is professor, how is his health? Is he in good health or something? Right? And you can go around happily. You can start an airline, collapse it and then walk around nicely. Because our processes are, it's always called what you call, law will take its own course. I never understood. The corporate debt, kindly note, the problem is not for the company, it is for the banker. He has to sort it out, somewhere or other. In our country, government will step in, help the bank. If it is a household debt, then there is a huge problem. Because an average housewife doesn't have access to this printing of notes. A small machine can, if it is given, she will be very happy, I'm sure. Every day morning she can start a print for the day at least, right? In indebtedness. What type of indebtedness? One could be for housing itself, educational loan, and third worst is this credit card. Average household in US has got 14 credit cards, 1-4. All of them are active. All of them are active. The aggregate limit sanctioned is their national income is of the order of some 17 trillion. Aggregate limit at the time of 13 trillion. Recently they have slashed it to 5 to 6 trillion. So there is a huge amount of what is loosely called womb to tomb debt in Western countries. That is, at the time of birth, it is through credit card. You solve to the hospital. At the time of death also, it is through the credit card. So womb to tomb, they are indebted. Some massive amount of indebtedness. And why have they borrowed left and right? Because a simple 6-letter word called family has been forgotten. And why that 6-letter word has implication? Because that 6-letter word is the one which gives rise to saving. That is another 6-letter word. That saving is also gone. So the whole thing is, it's not simply what I want to stress is, it's not simply a financial crisis in terms of, some bond market can be sorted out, some equity market can be stabilized. No, it's a much more deep-rooted issue and problem. In UK, the next 1 year, the proportion of children to unmarried mothers is going to be more than 50%. That is, majority of UK children are going to be what we call as illegitimate or bastards. What New York Times became a butt of jokes. The entire edifice of society is getting tremendously altered and changed. That is the issue. 41% in 2010 and is to unmarried mother. And in UK and US they are called actually single parent family. That's a very funny terminology. It's actually single mother family, which has to be taken care by the government. And government is getting broke. Like in UK, they say every additional child is not an expenditure, it's an investment, because the government has to give £500 to sustain that. So if you have 7 or 8 or 9 children, it's a huge investment you get. So whole social scene is in shambles actually. So, and among blacks, among Latinos, the situation is very worse. Among blacks, it's really, really bad. So what is happening is, the Archbishop of England told it nicely, the sovereignty of the family is gone. You know, they did a survey and found out there are more households with TVs than fathers. That is the end result. Because they say, which is correct, at that very, very young age, all over the world, father is used as a controlling variable. If you do this, I will tell Appa, don't do like this, like that, So the very young, very in the infancy, they all get a bit of concern by the control. They think the father is the controlling part. After they grow up, they understand what actually is the real situation in the family, who is really controlling person. Anyhow, when they are very, very young, they don't, and that variable is lost in significant number of households. So what is happening is, when they cross school, some of you may be knowing hardly 10 to 12% only we go to higher studies there. Otherwise, most of them go for these technical training and other things, what are called guilds, like your electrical, plumber, fitter, carpenter. No, those courses are not adequately getting subscribed because there is no force to put them in there. The single mother is not able to exercise that level of. Most of the people I come across, I ask, you joined engineering, why did you join engineering? I don't know, sir, everybody pressurized. All my friends joined engineering, I also joined. What did you do? I just studied past. What are you now doing? I am doing now journalism, I am doing archaeology. No, not connected with this. But the pressure was there at that age among the cohort group or among family. That is what is now, that is what the Archbishop is telling. Sovereignty of the family is gone. And due to that, over a period of 20-30 years, the joblessness among people is slowly creeping up. Today in Spain, the youth joblessness is 50%. Incidentally, youth in Europe is 16 to 24, very well defined. Not like India, where you can be 48 youth, 43 youth. Right? There is one fellow who, what is that, my neighboring state, his name is Stalin. Stalin is the son of the earlier chief minister. Most of you would have heard about it. He is some 63 or something, he has got grandchildren. But he is the leader of the youth wing of the party. Youth in India is very difficult to understand actually. The younger, even the newspapers, they were arguing that the older people in BJP should give rise to younger people. I was very puzzled. By older they mean old. By younger they mean old. The younger fellows are all above 65. The older fellows are all much older. So normally in Europe and other, when they say younger, it should be this side of the spectrum. But there the unemployment rate is phenomenally high, 50%. Greece is now touching 50. Britain is already 26. Everywhere there is a massive unemployment among youngsters. And whenever there is an economic issue like unemployment, you tend to blame the migrants, whether it is Bombay or whether it is Delhi or, when there is economic problem, you immediately say it is all due to the fellows who have come from outside. And in Europe, if you see, significant number of migrants are all from countries, Mauritania, Somalia, all various countries where most of them are following the Islam. So what is happening is the anti-immigration movement is turning into anti-Islam movement. Europe is sitting on a tender box. Take my word for it. I won't give more than 5 years for Europe to explode. Right? Tata wrote to, gave a public thing that on a Friday evening he is not able to get his senior managers in London for a meeting. It's not secret, he announced it. 3 o'clock he wanted to have a meeting, no manager was available. I wrote to Tata in a light-hearted fashion, good you didn't invest in Italy or France, because even on a Monday you couldn't have got them. Because in France around Thursday the weekend starts. believe me, the work ethics, except Germany, is significantly fallen. And France, which is already having 36 hours, they want to have 32 hours of working life only. It's extremely difficult for that continent to come out of this crisis. So it's not going to be easy. Coupled with that, there is another problem faced by them, which is also elaborated in the booklet which has been circulated to you. There is a demographic problem. Believe me, during the First World War, 1920, 25% of the world population was Europe. Every fourth man was a European in 1920. Today it is around 10%, 11% actually. And it is expected to become 2 to 3% in another 30, 40 years. So Europe is literally disappearing from the map of the world. One thing is good, my grandson need not mug up that Budapest is the capital of Hungary or something. I did that in school. And this between Sweden and this Norway, I always got confused. I thought Norway is the capital of Sweden. Many a time. Or Sweden is the capital of Norway. Both were wrong, actually. But I was never asked to mug up what is the capital of Madhya Pradesh, what is the capital of... I don't have to know them. I should know what is the capital of Hungary. I have never even imagined what that country could be or something. All of them are disappearing. This is good news for us. The area will be there. And two other countries which are facing similar crisis is Russia and Japan. Japan is shrinking. Every census they declare that we are so many lakhs less, so many million. It's slowly. And I have been put as a member of a project called Project Aging by the King of Japan. I don't know. Maybe I am also getting aged. That could be a reason. So they don't want any migration. They don't want any migration. They are very, very rarely they may encourage. Otherwise, no. Not like Europe. And their women are not enthusiastic in having a lot of children. Not even marrying. So I told them, you will become soon, you will be in Discovery Channel or National Geography. Endangered species. These are all called Japanese. Once they were, I took a friends gave a video, CD of a Parsis. I took that and showed it to them. How the Parsis have declined over a long period of time because of this, what one can call homogeneous pattern and not having. They are not. So Europe is going, they are going. Only two, our younger brother in the north and we are going to be there. We are elder brother. Remember that. Don't try to confuse. We are the elder brother and they are we and Chinese are the only fellows who will be going around the world. Imagine, right? Only one brown fellow and one yellow fellow. All over the Europe, everywhere, only we will be flourishing and going, right? So this is the entire demographic pattern is, of course, what will happen after 2100 maybe, we will also have a decline and other thing. I don't have to worry. I am not going to teach by then and I am not going to be around also. So beyond 2050, we should not too much worry, right? But we have an enormous amount of opportunities coming for us. What is the greatest single largest strength of our system is our system has phenomenal amount of saving even today. 32% we save. We are one of the largest savers in the world. And we every day morning we shout FII, FDI, FII, FDI. We do that bhajan, morning you get up like we have this what you call Suprabhadam, in our language. We have start with that MS Subbalakshmi. So like that early morning, FII, FDI, FII. Will it come? Will it not come? One fellow told, sir, you should put tie another. Should put. I told why I should put coat. Then only FII will come. Otherwise FII. And that fellow told, sir, in India you should have a tie to tell a lie. It's very important. Otherwise, people won't believe you. If you want to tell a lie, you must have a tie. Have you seen lawyers, chartered accountants, bankers? I don't want to tell more, right? Because somebody may file a what you call, contempt, right? Some lawyer, right? Defamation, right? But anyhow, I don't have to worry as long as he is around. He is the, he will take care of all the black coats of the country, right? Even though he wears always white dress, I am always puzzled actually. The man with the perfect white dress, dealing with all the blackness of this nation. So this is but actually if you look at statistics, in no particular year this FII and FDI had more than 7% of our domestic investment. 90% of our domestic investment has come from domestic saving, and that also primarily from household saving, 80% of it. So single largest strength or engines of our economic growth is the housewives of our country. We should recognize that, very important. They are the ones actually, unfortunately they are not feted, they are not talked about, they don't come in the TV, nobody cares about them. But they are still saving. And it is phenomenal, I tell you, in the light of the inflation which was, in the country, in the light of real income coming down, managing to save is something not very easy at all, right? And hundreds of people are discussing why are they saving. Incidentally, there is one major movement or rather desire on the part of many global think tanks that Indian women should spend more. They are saving too much. So there was some small conference. I was also, I don't know why people invite me to all this. Anyhow, I also went. How to make Indian women spend. So many ideas, and I told you are all going to fail. Indian woman is not going to, they are going to save only. He asked why. You look in Europe or US, when you reach certain age, you get a check from government. What is called social security. We don't have all-encompassing social security in India. So people have to save. And 85% of Indians, believe me, sir, are self-employed or on their own. Government employee or corporate big company employees are all 12 to 15%. The 85% has to survive. When they reach 65, suddenly has a kidney problem or heart problem, who is going to fund him? If he had a government retiree, he may get some benefit, not others. Third is, education is very expensive these days. Again and again I am telling in every fora this particular issue. Today UKG is more expensive than doing an MBA. Believe me. It's very tough. You have to pay capitation fee and then recommendation, sifars. And then these parents are madly studying also because they are interviewed. My neighbor, one lady and her mother also studying. I asked why? Tomorrow interview. For whom? For LKG student. But we will be asked questions. So in my area, 2 lakh is the entry fee for a good school. And good school means high price in India. Anything high priced is considered as 2 lakh. And then this, that, another thing monthly 2 to 2.5, including transport, lunch and everything. So education is very expensive. And Indian women, whether like all Asian women, are obsessed about education of their children. They want their children to get the best education. One reason, some white professor asked me, why are they so obsessed? I told very simple, sir, this is the only way they can, because every one of them want their children to do better than their husband. Very, very simple. This is the only way they can take revenge on their, because that fellow cannot be rectified anymore. He is like an old ambassador car. You know, what do you do with that? You can't sell it, you can't drive it, you can't, just it is there. Okay. After that you can move it from one location to another location, that's all. Otherwise what you do? You get some new Hyundai or new. So they are very, very clear about education. And they track what they do. And other day I was in a house and I asked the boy, what are you doing? He told, the father told 8th class. Son told, Appa, I am in 10th class. The father is, 2 years behind. Which class he is studying? The mother knows, tracks it, finds it. So they have to, and Kindly note, you don't get bank loan for education. For joining IIT, IIM, you get loan, not for UKG, LKG. Can you believe this? I always used to argue with bankers. I was on the board of some bank. You don't give money for foundation stone, but you are giving for third and fourth floor. How can I build a house? So I feel as PTs who are, responsible people, have young children, we must demand from the government some mechanism for school financing. There can be like your, housing finance corporation, we can create a school finance corporation. What is that? Education finance corporation. Put some 15, 30, 20,000 crores. And if you want to prevent NPA, adopt the German or Norway model. That is, every certificate clearly says that this fellow has borrowed money. So if you join any company, anybody, he has to deduct from your salary as TDS. It's like, I am sure most of you would know, when you hypothecate, when you get a loan from a bank, your RC book very clearly says that this is a vehicle on which you have taken a loan. So when you want to sell or when you want to do, you have to get it revised. Same way, education can be treated. It's not very impossible to, what one can call, have a lesser amount of NPA in education. So the fourth is what are called samskaras. Any marriage, any death, any birth, every ordinary Indian family spends a lot of effort and money. And poorer you are, more you spend. My electrician immediately rushes, or plumber, whenever he hears about some birth or death. Better off section may not be so much caring. He may send an SMS, sorry to hear you have died, and we would. That SMS also won't reach that fellow. He's already gone. But this is my. But poorer segments are very active in spending. So kindly note, samskara spending could be anywhere to 10 to 15% in India. Not an average thing. So if you add all these things, education, old age, security, old age health, you must have at least 30% of your income protected by you. Given an inflation rate of 5 to 6%, which is not there now, and given your income growth rate of something like 8 to 10%. So any day soon, for next 3 to 4 decades, our savings are not going to come down. Plus, last but not least is corruption. That also you have to save, you have to give in money. Nothing gets done in our country, everybody knows, without giving certain amount of money. You can't, give that, you can't go to the bank and say, I have to, give some corrupt money to my, local commissioner, Mahanagara Palike, and then say, ask loan from banks. So far, banks are not giving for bribing people. They may. That's a very lucrative thing also. It's a huge thing, right? But for that, you will ask another bribe. This is a very vicious cycle it will become. Bankers to provide you loan to bribe may ask for a bribe. So this is the, but we have a huge strength in terms of our saving habits. And most important is, large portion of our growth comes from what are called partnership and proprietorship firms, not from the big companies. Big companies put together all what is listed in Bombay Stock Exchange as well as others may not be more than 10 to 12% of the GDP. Huge portion of GDP comes from these small fellows. Small fellows also have big money. Kindly note, small fellow doesn't mean he is doing some agarbatti or candlelight or a papad. There are a lot of small fellows who are, for instance, there is a town called Tirupur near Coimbatore. There are exporters who are 1200 to 1400 crore export. Individual partnerships, one person, his name is very interesting. He is called Armstrong Arumugam. His name is Arumugam. Arumugam means six-faced Lord Kartikeya. Same as our Swami name. Armstrong is called. Why? He was born on the day when Armstrong stepped on the moon. So I was coming back from France. He was also coming, Paris. He was also coming back. He was in first class. I was in the cattle class only, the last. Teacher, no. So we were talking, interacting. He is with the dhoti and He doesn't know English. He's only 7th class passed. Very interesting, I found out in a lot of these, entrepreneurship and education are inversely correlated. People who have significant amount of fund generated by their corporate entrepreneurship are normally 7th to 8th standard. Don't confuse the other way. Sir, if I am 7th standard only, will I? No, not necessarily. It doesn't mean, right? But they are, and of course they make a mistake of, so I was talking to him, I asked him, how do you manage? You don't know English, you have been, sir, in France also people do not know English, sir, he told me. I liked that actually. In Paris, where he went for negotiation, they don't know English. But he added one nice thing. Sir, we all start businesses, but institution like yours also teach a lot of people, so we can always hire them. What is that? Like that he casually mentioned. So do not immediately conclude that these so-called small fellows are really they are very large in terms of turnover, in terms of activities in various places. You go to this diamond merchants in Surat. There is a place called Antwerp in Amsterdam, which is one of the global centers for diamond. Jews used to control 70% of the diamond trade in 1980s there in Antwerp. Today it has become reverse. Our Gujarati people, they control 70%. Jews control only 20%. And they are very small community called Palanpur Jains. Today if you go to Antwerp, one of the language used is Gujarati. Wall Street Journal wrote a very nice article on that. They told this is one group, Gujaratis, who defeated Jews, not by war, not by violence, but in business, which has never taken place in the history of Europe. The only group, and those fellows are telling in the interview, these fellows are so shrewd, we don't understand what they are doing. And many of their faxes they send in Gujarati, so it is much more difficult for you to steal it and read it, because unless you know, if they send it, they don't even send it in English, they send it in, and most of them are 10th class, 11th class. So several segments of our entrepreneur group are very active all over the country, and these are actually the backbones. And for them the financing comes from the housewives, in between banks. And 60% of our saving goes to banks. Unfortunately, some of these stupid banks led it to this Kingfisher and other thing. And the government has to come again and then help them, which is our money only. So the second thing which I think we must demand is a large scale restructuring of our financial architecture to help these groups in their business activities. Very important. They are crying out for credit. Adequate credit is not available. And they are also affected by corruption. Everybody knows. And the smaller you are, larger the cost of funds for you. We talk about 9%, 10%. You will be surprised to know most of them are borrowing at 4 to 6% per month today. Most of these groups are in construction, these groups are in transport, these groups are in plumber, fitter, carpenter, and then these groups are in truck operators, hundreds of these areas. They are all crying out for funds, which we are not adequately focusing. Of course, if you are further interested, you can buy the book and read it, most important. Buying part is very important for me, reading part is very important for you. I think you understand, right? So, you must buy, and I can't compel you. If you are my student, I would have told that it is part of the syllabus and it will come for exam. Then immediately they will ask, which page, sir? Will page 44 to 45 will come, or? And then somebody will ask, sir, put it in a small, brief PowerPoint, 2-3 points. Because reading habit is dead. And writing habit is not there at all. Nobody writes. I ask them to write one page. They can't write. Sir, we will type and send it to you. And all of that is, our, 140 language. GR8, great. I cannot understand what is being I require actually a separate dictionary. If somebody can provide, I will be very happy about it. What you call that Twitter dictionary. You know, how to match the words, what are and what is the. So that is the nature of the. So you should get the book to understand, and the most important third dimension of our picture is the black money. I think this is something which is very serious, and this has been spoken so much. This has been, so the onus is on the government to take very, very serious steps on this. Let me tell you very clearly, the credibility of the government will be questioned after 1 or 2 years, if nothing is done on that. Some people say that we can wait for 1 year. It is like a story I heard. Of course, if I tell immediately, people will say, sir, for your standing, you should not mention. On film actor, let us say, I won't name her. No, that's not a good thing, right? Let me say AB as a. So she went to look around for a flat. Located one in a lovely Bombay, Malabar area. So they negotiated. Only one problem was noise nearby. Some tinkering shop somewhere nearby, there is a lot of noise was coming. So this AB told, so much noise, I am paying so much rent. And so the broker told in, madam, in 6 months you will get adjusted. Adjusted means what? Noise will continue to be there. But when you are moving, after 6 months it will become normal. So this lady told, then I will come after 6 months to get the flat on rent. You got the point. She told, I will come after 6 months. Problem is not going to be solved. Same way, people say in 2-3 years we will deal with that or of similar nature. Problem is going to get more acute. Huge amount of funds are there. So we must, the third dimension of our serious thinking should be that the government must initiate methods, mechanisms, transparent ways, publicly known. As a first step, a simple step, there is nearby Pune, next to Bombay, Erwada jail, our dear friend, Hasan Ali, my dear friend at least, because I have been writing about him so long. Actually, one of these days, I think he will come and give a bouquet to me. You are the only one who is remembering me for so long period of time. He can be interrogated. I think we must initiate steps which are very, very comprehensive in order to do this. It's going to take at least 5 to 10 years. It's not going to be a easy task. Why we stress on that is, these funds will be phenomenally useful for our infrastructure which is being planned. It is not required for us to completely depend upon only loans or anything. We have huge amount of funds which is available outside. Our funds. It's not somebody else's funds or something. So, what we can do is, what is the strength of our, what we have to leverage? Why did the West fail? First, nationalization of families, privatization of business. This model doesn't work. You can't, everything is taken care by the government. Like there was an interview in a Tamil TV of a young girl about who is giving her education. She told her Amma. She didn't mean her mother. She meant the Chief Minister of the state. So, to that extent, dependency on the state is getting phenomenally increased. That's not going to, savings have been forgotten, and everybody is right-based. All are having rights, women rights, cockroach rights, men rights, that fellow's right, this woman right and cockroach right, I shouldn't have told together. Huh? Men, no men rights, correct. Because if I say woman right and cockroach right, evening Arnav will have a massive debate on it. Should the IAM professor combine woman and right? So all type of rights. Nobody talks about a 4-letter word called duty anymore. Is there a duty commission, sir, in the country? Think about it. We have so many rights commissions. No duty commissions. Because that has become a dirty word. Everything is relationship based or all converted into rule based. And multiculturalism, we are talking for ages. Britain has declared that it is failed. 0 mark. Merkel has told it has gone. It's failed. Because when your neck is getting cut, how can you say, we are all one and the same? Suddenly they are all realizing. But we are not. And I always maintain, if lawyers, accountants and doctors flourish, the system is decaying. Right? Fortunately, he is not a lawyer. He is an economist. But everybody thinks he is a lawyer. Lawyers, accountants and doctors, if they are flourishing in a society, 3 groups, and these are the most favored groups for marriage today. Who are the least favored? Farmers and teachers. Nobody wants to marry a farmer. Nobody wants to marry a teacher. These are the least favored. What should flourish? Art should flourish. Dance should flourish. Music should flourish. Teaching should flourish. No. In our country today, accounting and lawyers are flourishing. So very, our growth is, it's not a global crisis, let's understand. It's primarily an Anglo-Saxon crisis. Keep away from that domestic demand-driven growth. Huge amount of our, my Chinese colleague always used to say that in India you make things for India. In China we make things in China. There's a lot of difference between the two. And lots of them are community oriented. Funds will come to India. Don't have any worry about it. There is no other place funds can go. Funds can't go to Middle East unless they are financing terror. Funds can't go to Europe. Funds have to come to India. Funds are in search of markets. That is the current situation. So our story is just starting, sir. Don't have any doubt about it. And the most interesting is, maybe because of some wish of Lord Ganesha, at this appropriate time we have got an appropriate Prime Minister who can leverage on this. This is the most interesting thing, that when the global situation is, when the manthan is getting churned and all poison is thrown out, and now the Amrit is coming, we have an appropriate person to deal with it. So India's story is just starting. And I am very confident we will emerge not just as an Asian power, provided we preserve our culture, preserve our families, preserve our tradition, and carry the legacy of a large civilization on our shoulders. Right? And Lodi Garden should be renamed, I told you that, remember that. Right? And only 1 letter, sir, don't bother, it's a spelling mistake, so we have done like that, right? Thank you very much. We have exceeded the time, right?
Thank you, Professor Vaidyanathan. It is always a pleasure to listen to his lecture, even it was longer by 25 minutes. We are 25 minutes behind schedule now. And since we are 25 minutes behind schedule, we are postponing the question and answer session. Question and answers will be taken up by Professor Vaidyanathan post-lunch. So just to inform you that we are trending on Twitter. PT Delhi 2014 is trending on Twitter. After this, we will break for 40 minutes. That is a lunch break. But just to repeat once again what I said earlier, books written by Professor Vaidyanathan and Dr. Subramanian Swamy are available to you at a huge discount at the rear end of the hall. At the rear end of the hall on the right hand side, there is a donation box also. Those of you who want to donate any money for to meet the expenses of this function, you are most welcome. And after lunch, first we'll have a question and answer session for 15 minutes. Professor Vaidyanathan will answer questions related to what he talked about, global economic crisis. And thereafter, there will be a 75-minute session for the PTs to make a presentation. These people have come from different parts of country, and I just name them now so that they can prepare themselves post-lunch session. These are Ishkaran Bhandari from Delhi, Firmi Bodo from Assam, Thakur Bikram Singh of Hindu Swabhiman from UP, Vikas Sabhu from Odisha, Suresh N from Karnataka, Anurag Saxena from Singapore, and thereafter we'll have a session where the key speaker will be Professor M.D. Nalapat, and after Professor Nalapat's session, in the last but one session before the tea break, we have Mr. Ashirvadam Achari's session on corruption, and then we'll have a tea break. If we are running behind the schedule, we should have the tea break around 16:20, and we'll try to make up some time, and the concluding session will be Dr. Subramanian Swami's lecture. So we break for lunch just now. This is for 40 minutes, 35 minutes exactly. At 14:10 hours, 2:10 p.m. we meet again and have the question and answer session for Professor Vaidyanathan. Thank you very much. Please proceed on the right hand side, food court. Lunch is waiting for all of us. कृपया lunch